of the students are. Okay, so let's start here. So we are going to discuss weekly current affairs from 23rd or 22nd March to 28th March. Okay, so this is going to be the timeline. So we are going to discuss these issues from mains perspective. Okay, so India-Pakistan trade. Then we have campaigning in the name of religion. Will it violate model code of conduct and what is the Supreme Court stand on these things? Then we'll know about what is sickle cell anemia and what is this CRISPR-Cas9 technology which is being used to cure the sickle cell anemia. Then new collective quantifiable goal. Okay, so with respect to what will, this is the important term. These type of things can be even asked in prelims. They can give the statement or this particular thing is associated with which. Straightforward questions also can be asked. Then 13th Ministerial Conference of WTO. So we'll discuss what happened there and what are the issues of developing countries like India. Then we'll also look into what is India's application with respect to this nicotine seamount. Okay, so where is it located? Why India has applied to explore this particular nicotine seamount? Then South China Sea dispute. You know why it is in news. Okay, so we have given our support to Philippines in this regard. Then we'll also look into National Disaster Response Fund. So why means, again, you know, Karnataka has launched a protest, right, against the center because they're not releasing the funds which they required. So then we'll look into European Union's Digital Markets Act. Okay, so why this is in news, we'll be looking into. Then these are going to be the facts. Means these are important in terms of prelims. Okay, so like you have Usha Mehta. Why she is in news? There is a web series that got released, no? A Watan Mere Watan. Have you watched? No. I expected none of you will watch these type of things. Then this is a new initiative which was launched in terms of environment only. And why this is important? Because when India has joined such initiatives or when India is participating in these, UPSC can focus on these areas, okay, which are important from Indian perspective. Then we look into what are postal ballots. Okay, so you know why this is also in news. I'll explain in detail again. Some reports in news because prelims is round the corner, no? So you can expect some questions from these also. Then you can call UCM or United for Consensus, also called Coffee Club. So what is this also, why it is in news, we'll be looking. Then black carbon. Then Kerala has designated this man-animal conflict as a state disaster. So when these things happen for the first time, okay, or in a less number of times, then these type of things can be focused. Then this is some places in news you need to know and along with some mapping also. Okay, so as prelims is round the corner, I have included some important mappings also which you need to know places in news. Okay, so before that, first thing you have to discuss here is India-Pakistan trade. So why this is in news? I think all the freshers might not have any idea about what is happening, right? You will take some time, okay? Don't worry, I'll make it simplified. As of now, try to understand as much as you can. But over a period of time, like 2-3 months, it will minimum take to understand what's actually happening around you, okay? So first thing you need to remember is, India shares Pakistan boundary, right? Yes or no? How many states have boundary with Pakistan? Rajasthan, Punjab, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir. Among which has the highest boundary? Rajasthan. Are you very sure? It is Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. More than 1500 kilometers is with Jammu and Kashmir. Second place you have Rajasthan, then Gujarat and Punjab. Okay, so Punjab and then Gujarat. Okay, so like this you have. So these are the states which have boundary. Okay, so first most thing. Then why India-Pakistan trade is on the card now? Because recently Pakistan foreign minister, okay, so he said in a statement that newly there is a government elected in Pakistan. Okay, so they said now we are willing to discuss trade relations with India. Why means there is already trade happening. But because of some reasons, there is some pause in the trade relations. Means, what are those reasons we look into? Okay? Yes? Okay. Yeah. So, that is what the people of Pakistan are saying. But actual reason is different. We'll look into those things. Okay? So, here what happened is, before that you need to know where we have issues with respect to Pakistan. Okay? So, normally what are the issues we face with Pakistan? In what terms we have? Okay, terrorism, fine. Then Then only with respect to terrorism you have issues. Yes, very good. Border. This is the main thing, no? Okay. So in this also we have in different areas. For example, Kashmir, you know, that is the hot spot, right? Always Pakistan wants to claim Kashmir. Okay. And how many wars we have fought with Pakistan? 2 or 3 or 4. You are adding surgical strikes also. 3. Can you explain when? No. Okay. They have formed as a new country in 47 itself, no? So consider from the time of independence. 65. Very good. 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. So 3 wars we have fought with Pakistan. So why this Kashmir is always an issue? Because India is saying whatever the dispute with respect to Kashmir is, that should be resolved bilaterally. Okay, and even if you have remembered, there is Shimla Agreement also, which we signed in 1972. This is also saying the dispute should be settled bilaterally. But always Pakistan is showing inclination in internationalizing the Kashmir issue. You know, they wanted to like show that India is ruling very orthodoxically or something with respect to Kashmir, and they wanted to point out India in different platforms. This is one main thing you have to keep in mind. Then with respect to Siachen also, you know, Siachen Glacier is the highest battlefield in the world, we call, right? So, in Siachen, we have launched an operation. What is the name of the operation? Very good. In 84, very good. Operation Meghdoot, okay? That was launched by whom? Indian? Which particular force? I'm asking about Army, Navy and Air Force. Which of these armed forces have launched Operation Meghdoot? Air Force, no. Because glacier, no. You can easily think Army or Navy cannot go there because of the difficult terrain. So, Operation Meghdoot was conducted by Indian Air Force. So, why this Siachen Glacier is a contention? Because it is located at the highest place. Second thing is, it is very difficult to access there. Okay, and harsh weather conditions are there. Even if you see the people who are posted at Siachen Glacier, they also have so many health issues and they don't have proper food and all. It is the highest place and very coldest place also. So it will be difficult to even guard the border at this particular place. So with respect to this, beyond Siachen Glacier, we don't have any clear-cut demarcation that this is a boundary of India, like this is a boundary of Pakistan. There is no demarcation beyond the point called NJ9842. Okay. Beyond this, we don't have clear-cut demarcation. That is why there is a contention. This is just a point, okay, geographical location. Beyond this, there is claim by India as well as Pakistan that this is ours, this is ours. So they are also saying above Siachen Glacier, everything is Pakistan. We are not accepting. So that is why we have a contentious issue here. Then third thing is with respect to in what other areas we have. Yes. Sir Creek. Okay. So where is this located? Sir Creek is nothing but marshy type of land. Okay. Saline land will be there. No, where sea water, ocean water will be there. That type of marshy land which is located between Indian state of Gujarat and Pakistan state of Sindh. Okay. Between this particular place we have Sir Creek. Then what is the dispute here? In 1924-25, when Britishers are ruling us, at that point of time, they have divided the Sir Creek in equal way. Okay, so at that time among the provinces they have divided. So India is saying you have to divide even Sir Creek in the midway. That means half of to India and Pakistan. But Pakistan is claiming entire Sir Creek is ours. That is why we have some dispute here. Okay, and which particular force will guard here Pakistan boundary? BSF, Border Security Force. Okay, so that force is responsible guarding the, and it is also the largest paramilitary force also in terms of guarding the boundaries. Okay, the same force will be guarding Pakistan as well as East Pakistan, that is present day Bangladesh border also. Okay, here also you will find Sir Creek area also BSF guarding the borders. Okay, they will be there in the post. Then we have another issue with respect to border is Gilgit-Baltistan. Okay, so you know Gilgit-Baltistan means where it is located? So here, in case if you consider this as Kashmir, so this part is Gilgit-Baltistan. You know, all this part is under POK, right? We are saying that it is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It is Indian territory, but it is under Pakistani occupation as of now. But what Pakistan is saying, they have declared this Gilgit-Baltistan as a fifth province, means their own, which India is not accepting. And you know, through this same Gilgit-Baltistan only we have China-Pakistan economic corridor also passing. That is why India always says it is related to sovereign issues and we are not accepting this China-Pakistan economic corridor because it is passing through Indian territory without Indian consent. How you can do that? That is what the stand. So with respect to these four areas, we have border issues with Pakistan. Clear? Any doubt so far? Especially the freshers. Clear? Yes. Yes, but Sindh province of Pakistan and Gujarat, they will be having this area. Okay, Sir Creek. So these are the areas of border disputes. Okay. Along with border, we have terrorism. Okay. Then we have other issues like trade. This we'll discuss in detail what happened and all. Economic ties also. Economic ties include trade also. But if you see, in 1992, almost we have $42 million of trade happening between India and Pakistan. But now, that means as on date, if you see, it has fallen down to $2 million. That's it. Normally, as time passes, trade should increase, no? But here, if you see $42 million in 90s, and today we have only $2 million. That means very minimal, you can say. Okay. So what India is taking from Pakistan? Organic fruits, dry fruits. These are things which we are getting from Pakistan. In return, what we are exporting? We are exporting cotton, agricultural related things, and also chemicals which are required for them. Okay. So in this case, if you see between India and Pakistan, who are sending more and who are receiving less? Yes, of course. Okay. India has dominance because Indian economy is more than 10 times larger than Pakistan economy. That is why India is exporting more and we have trade surplus. Trade surplus means what? When you export more and import less. So here Pakistan is dependent on India's exports. Okay. And we are less dependent on their exports. That is why we are having trade surplus with Pakistan. Okay. This is what you have to keep in mind with respect to trade. Then other issues we have is Article 370. Okay, you know what happened Article 370? When this was abrogated in 2019, means when central government has taken back special status of Jammu and Kashmir. At that time, what Pakistan is saying? No, because Jammu and Kashmir is entirely ours. How they can do this? Okay, so they are protesting against these things. Apart from terrorism. So next we have another issue you can say is asymmetric balancing, you can say. What is this asymmetric balancing? When you don't have equal say. For example, here Pakistan is not economically influential like India, right? But still, okay, it doesn't have enough resources like India, it doesn't have population, it doesn't have defense and all. But still, in the name of terrorism, it is trying to attack us, okay, or it is trying to show that we are equal. That is what we call as asymmetric balancing, okay. So although they're not on par with us, but still they're trying to assert that we are equal participants, okay. And we have other issues with respect to Indus Water Treaty and all. With respect to these also, if you have seen recently, India has stopped releasing water, no? Which particular river water to Pakistan? Ravi river water, no? Because under Indus Water Treaty, we have Indus, Chenab, Jhelum. These are given to Pakistan, and rivers like Ravi, Beas, Satluj. These are given to India. Okay. So as Ravi is under India's domain, it is complete prerogation of India. Okay. That is what we said. So even our external affairs minister, what did he say? Trade and terrorism doesn't go hand on hand. No? So when you stop terrorism at that time only, we'll trade with you. That is what India is clearly saying with respect to this Pakistan. Okay. So what actually happened is, here with respect to trade, now they said we are again, as a new government formed in Pakistan, they wanted to resume trade with India. Means again they wanted to restart second phase 2.0, you can say. Okay. So what actually happened is, when this trade came to an end, means Actually, Pakistan is saying after the abrogation of Article 370 with respect to Jammu and Kashmir, so we stopped the trade. That is not the correct thing. Okay, they're portraying like Article 370, but what actually happened is after Pulwama attack. You know, Pulwama attack happened, no? So after that, what you know clearly that it has happened from Pakistani base only, no? At that time, what did India do? We have revoked. Revoked means we have taken back MFN status. MFN means most favored nation status. I'll explain this in detail. So most favored nation status was taken back. Okay, what is this most favored nation status? The name itself is suggesting most favored, means you know you will have a set of friends. Among those friends also you will have some best friend, no? Yes or no? In case if you are having your birthday party, okay, so what you will do, you will give your cake or something to your best friends first, but who are all attending the party also, for them also you will give a piece of cake, no? You cannot say only for my best friends I will give. Yes or no? Equal treatment should be there at that point of time. Same happens with MFN also. Okay, what happens is under WTO, World Trade Organization, this mechanism is provided. Means, for example, if you wanted to give discounted trade benefits to any country of WTO, then same thing should be given to all other WTO countries also. If it is a non-WTO country, it is your choice. But in case of WTO member countries, you should treat them equally. There should not be any discrimination. Okay. So, in case if you are giving most favored nation status to Nepal, for example, India's neighbor country, but you know, with Pakistan we don't have good relations. In that situation, as Pakistan is also a WTO member, you cannot say I don't like Pakistan, that is why I'm not going to give MFN status, or we are trying to take the same product from Pakistan at a higher price and we'll try to take same product from Nepal at a cheaper price. You cannot do so because WTO itself is there to see that there should not be any discriminatory trade practices. Okay, that is why this MFN was introduced. Okay, so this was given to Pakistan during 1996, that is Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time. You can say somewhat betterness in relations happened during his period only. You know, Samjauta Express also is there. So friendship, somewhat normalization of trade relations happened during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's tenure only. At that time, we have given most favored nation status to Pakistan. This was revoked after Pulwama attack. Okay. Now, why did we revoke this? As I told you, trade and terrorism cannot happen at the same time. When you are attacking us, why we should give you benefits of MFN? Yes or no? It seems logical, right? But as I told you, MFN is a mandatory thing under WTO. On what grounds India has revoked it? You have to adhere to WTO, no, when you are a member country, World Trade Organization. WTO is saying most favored nation status should be given to all WTO countries. You should not discriminate. But how India can revoke this? Means there should be some exceptions, right? In some exceptional situations, you can take that. In case that if that is allowed, only India can do that, right? In two situations, this MFN status can be exempted. What are those two? In case if you are having any regional free trade agreements. Regional free trade agreements means? Free trade agreement means what? You will have minimal tariffs, zero or minimal tariff. Okay. Examples: Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, RCEP, that is between Pacific countries. No, we have SAFTA. Have you heard about this? SAFTA, South Asian Free Trade Agreement. So that is limited to South Asian countries. In case if you have those regional agreements in place, okay, at that time this MFN cannot be given. That is one exemption. Second thing is, if you are having security concerns with any country, okay, in that situation you can take back. Citing the same security concerns, India has withdrawn MFN status from Pakistan in Pulwama attack case. Okay, after Pulwama attack they have withdrawn this MFN status. Then what happened? If MFN is given, so the same product has to be allowed into the India at the same prices. Okay, there should not be any discrimination, whether it be from Pakistan or US or any country, you should allow at the same price. But now MFN was withdrawn, no? What did India do? India has imposed 200% tariffs on Pakistani exports. 200%. For example, consider I am importing this pen from Pakistan. Previously, when this MFN is there, it used to cost 10 rupees. Okay, but now I have imposed 200% tax. 200% of 10, how much? 20 rupees. 10 plus 20 extra will be there, no? That means how much it is costing now? 30 rupees. Same pen, when trades are normalized, okay, it used to cost only 10 rupees, but now it is costing 30 rupees. That means whether you will buy this from Pakistan buying at 30 rupees, or whether you will buy the same pen at 10 rupees from another country which is having MFN status, we'll try to buy from another country, no? That means you are discouraging trade with Pakistan because they're attacking us in the form of terror attacks. That is what actually happened. When we have imposed 200% trade, this import duties and all, then Pakistan has completely stopped the trade. But they said, in the name of Article 370, when you are doing with Kashmir, we don't want to continue with this. It is not them who decided. It is us who decided. Okay, but they always want to portray that they're fighting for the real cause and India is fighting, okay, in like injustice and all. So this is what all happened. Okay, these are the things which you need to remember. Clear so far? New members, please don't try to think like this is all the history or mystery, okay? So it is in simple only. As time passes on, you will understand, okay? Then, so bilateral trade between India and Pakistan, I told you. After 2019, minimal trade, almost you can say very less trade, that is also happening through sea route. From Pakistan, if they go to Saudi Arabia or Iran, from there sometimes we are importing some things, okay? So even with respect to this, if you have seen in the last week or 10 days back, we have basmati rice piracy also happened with respect to this Pakistan. Basmati rice, you know, we'll all have this basmati rice, no? So that is having GI tag status in India, okay? But the same pusa variety, illegally Pakistan is producing with another name and they're selling in the market. You know, GI tag means it has to be unique and it has to be allowed only from that area. Okay, biopiracy we call. That means in the name, they're changing the name but same varieties. That is why Indian Council of Agriculture Research, they have registered a complaint also. Pakistan is illegally selling this in the market, okay. This is one recent thing you have to remember. Then I told you, MFN status was given in 96 but it was withdrawn, okay. What happened here is, another thing you need to remember is, MFN means I told you, equal treatment should be there. But what happened, in spite of giving MFN status also, Pakistan has maintained a negative list. What is this negative list? Negative list means it has identified almost 1200 items or products you can say, which should not be imported from India. You are saying MFN, that means equal treatment should be there. You should not discriminate with India or with China. You should treat both of them equally. But at the same time, Pakistan has maintained a negative list saying that these items should not be imported from India. That is a violation of MFN only, no? Okay, these are other things which you need to remember. So MFN I told you already, okay, equal treatment should be there. If you confer MFN status to one country, all other countries of WTO also should be given same status. This is a provision under WTO, do remember, okay, clear? Then who enjoys trade surplus? It is India, okay. It was India previously, but now we'll see. Now why they wanted to have, so already I told you why the trade paused is 2019 Jammu and Kashmir reorganization. They are not happy with that. They said the same thing. And as I told you, India has imported 200% tariff following the Pulwama attack. Okay, so this is actual reason. And withdrawal of MSN. Following this attack, we have withdrawn most favored nation status. Now Pakistani products become much costlier. That is why they don't find market in Indian things. Okay, so then why Pakistan is reconsidering now? Okay, what are the factors now why they are considering is, there is a change in government. Okay, don't think that like in India, change in government may takes different policies. Okay, there rather than the government, who is more powerful is army. Okay, they are the command control you can say. So these people only will be deciding. All the time army is against India only, but still the present government wants to enhance the trade relations because already Pakistan is under economic crisis. You might all have heard about this. Okay, so in one point of time, they didn't have even money to buy products, imports from for 7 days of time also. So they have this forex reserves which depleted to $10 billion. $10 billion means only for 5 days they have the forex reserves. Okay, so that is a situation. And in one point of time, even they asked the malls to be shut down after 8 o'clock only, because they could not supply energy also. That is what the situation they have. Okay, so economic crisis. At the same time, we have floods also in Pakistan in 2022 and followed by drought, food security issues, all they also were part of this. So because of all these factors, severe economic crisis is there in Pakistan. So to come out of economic crisis, okay, they have to take some help, no? So that help, if that is coming from nearby country, it would have advantage. Otherwise, if you are taking from a long distant country, okay, so then how you can restore trade? It will become more costlier, no? Okay, if you wanted to import from neighboring country, it is easy. But if you wanted to take far off from another country which is very far, then it will increase the cost of trade also, no? So in that way, it doesn't benefit the country. So they wanted to normalize trade relations with India. This is one factor. Then Pakistan already has approached IMF, we have seen. Okay, and with respect to this also, they wanted friendly countries like China to participate in the loan process and all. They wanted grants and loan from these countries. And always direct trade will increase the efficiency of this situation, okay. So it will make it more robust to come out of the economic crisis. And Pakistan relationships with Afghanistan also deteriorated. In the recent times we have seen they have attacked, okay, because Taliban itself is not happy with Pakistan, and some attacks, they are saying that from Afghanistan we are getting targeted. So the same case happened with Iran also, Pakistan, Iran also have exchanged air strikes and all in the previous instances, okay. So in that situation, as restoration of normalcies doesn't take place with Afghanistan and Iran, now they are looking at India. And Maldives is also there, one country you have seen, no? How much they have done, we have seen, okay. So they have said India should withdraw all the defense forces and all. But now if you see 2-3 days back, what did they do? They asked for economic aid, no? Okay. So andite tala andakpote kaallu antaru chusara, same vartistadi ikkada Pakistan ki, Maldives ki, okay. So all they tried to blame us, tried to blackmail us, but the things doesn't work in their favor. That is why now they wanted to take the help of India, okay. So these are the things which you need to remember. Then what are the challenges? Now if they wanted to restore also, there are some problems like we have discussed, no? So what are those problems? Means there is role of hardliners. Hardliners means some politically influential persons like Zardari, okay. So these persons are very influential in Pakistan. They don't want normalcy with India. Okay, always they will have some pressure exerted on the government. If the government, whoever is leading, if they wanted to try normalcy also, these people will not allow. They will always see India with a red eye. Okay, this is one situation. And role of Pakistan army, I told you, always this is against India only. How to weaken India militarily and all, these are the things which they are doing. In Pakistan, they wanted to restore Article 370, that is India's internal affair and sovereign thing. It cannot be there. So terrorism also. So these are the challenges. Until unless they stop these things, okay, trade relations cannot be normal. Okay, so these are the things. Then what you can suggest when you're writing a mains answer, in case if a question is asked in this year mains only, because now Pakistan has shown willingness to normalize trade relations. No? What you will suggest? What can be done to better the trade relations or bilateral relations between India and Pakistan? Those who are aspiring for this year prelims or mains, please answer. So first thing you have to suggest is CBM. Okay, what is this CBM? Confidence building measures. Okay, so either side should take confidence building measures. Ante mana first vallu terrorism ni support cheyarani namakam ravali. Okay, this should happen. Confidence building measures should be taken from both the sides, then only normalcy can be expected. Then what can be there? See, normally in any IR area, so some terms if you remember, those only you have to suggest. Confidence building measures, back channel diplomacy, soft power diplomacy, religious ties strengthening, cultural ties strengthening. These are the areas where you can soften relations, right? So what can happen here? Religious tourism can be promoted. You can say like Kartarpur Sahib corridor, we already have seen. No? So those type of things can be there. Sports. As India and Pakistan match, okay. So these type of things can normalize relations, right? This thing can happen. And what you can suggest, soft power diplomacy or back channel diplomacy means, normally diplomats have to engage into the talks. But in case of people or some other sections of society, if they're volunteering and trying to normalize the relations, that we call as back channel diplomacy, okay. So in these situations, our relations can be bettered. So this is what you have to suggest in the way forward, okay, how to normalize ties. Then before that, answer me, in what organizations do India and Pakistan share membership? SARC, This was dysfunctional because of India-Pakistan enmity only, right? Okay. So where is it headquartered? SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. This is a grouping of South Asian countries in which both India and Pakistan are members. Okay. Do remember this. When you are studying about any bilateral relations, you have to remember in which groupings they have membership. That also you can add as one dimension. Then SCO, then WTO, UN also you can say. Okay. These are the areas where we have. Okay. Clear? Now answer this question in case if you understood it better. I don't expect freshers to give this, but in case if you want to try, you can. What is the answer? 2 only. Why? It is not there only to developing countries. I told you under WTO all countries. Okay. So who are member countries? They have to adhere to the most favored nation status. Here only to developing countries is wrong. Okay. Then what is this GATT? General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. Before WTO existence, okay, it came into existence only in 1995, Marrakesh Treaty, okay. Before that we have GATT, which was formed in the wake of Second World War, okay. So that was the first organization with respect to trade. Subsequently, we replaced GATT with WTO. So this statement is right. So answer is 2 only. Then, so next topic we are going to discuss is campaigning in the name of religion. So whether it is allowed or not. What is Model Code of Conduct saying with respect to this? We'll look into this, okay. So why this is in news? Because you know already Model Code of Conduct is in force, okay. Immediately when election schedule was announced, Model Code of Conduct will come into picture, okay. That means there will be some do's and don'ts which are given to the political parties as well as the candidates who are contesting, okay. They cannot do what they wanted to, okay. Some restrictions will be there. Like when you sit for examination, you have some do's and don'ts, no? Same way, this is an exam for political parties and the contestants. Same way here, okay. Then what is a Model Code of Conduct? Does it have any statutory backup? No, okay. There is no law which has created this Model Code of Conduct, okay. It was just brought by consensus. All political parties, they have sit together, okay. And they have said that these are the guidelines which have to be followed. But there is no law that has given some powers to the Model Code of Conduct, okay. So this is not clearly defined. That is why Election Commission of India, one of the reforms it wants is with respect to this Model Code of Conduct, okay. They want legal backing as well as clear guidelines should be there. That is what always Election Commission is asking. Then what is in this means? Recently, one political party, okay, they have raised a complaint against another, you know. It will be BJP against Congress, okay. So again, because I am saying it, so one of the leader of opposition party, he has used Hindu sentiments, okay, to appeal votes in the name of Shakti. Something he made as a remark, okay. That is not interesting and not too important to know here. But what you have to know is, what are the provisions with respect to this? Whether you can appeal votes in the name of religion or not. What does Constitution say? Or what does Model Code of Conduct say? You have to understand, right? So here if you see, what in the elections time, okay, so you know different persons will be campaigning saying different things, okay, so they can say what they can do or what they wanted to do in future, okay, for betterment, but they cannot appeal votes in the name of religion, caste, race, language, okay. So you cannot say I am a Hindu, so please vote for me, like that. You cannot ask any person to vote. In case if you do, you will be debarred from contesting elections. So that is what Section 123 Clause 3 of Representation of People's Act 1951 is saying. Okay. At the end, I'll explain what is the difference between 51 and 50 Act also. But as of now, do remember, Section 123 Clause 3 is saying that in case if any person appeals votes in the name of religion, race, caste, gender or language grounds, then they cannot be eligible to contest elections. They can be disqualified from contesting also. That is barred. Okay. Then what is the Section 123 3A is saying? Here you cannot appeal votes in the name of religion. This is a violation of Model Code of Conduct. Then what is this is saying? In case if you promote enmity. Enmity means what? Enmity or hatredness between two groups. For example, Hindu against Muslim or Muslim against Christian. Like this, if you promote any enmity, okay, that also attract disqualification under Representation of People's Act 1951. So these two provisions are safeguarding that there should not be any campaigning in the name of religion during elections. Clear? Are you people understanding? Okay. So here these are the two provisions which you need to quote in case if a question is asked. Then what happens if these provisions are violated? Okay. In case if any person has appealed in the name of religion, so then what happens? Then for 6 years they will be disqualified. Means for the next 6 years from the date of disqualification they cannot contest elections. Okay. They cannot fight elections. Then what is this model code of conduct? As I already told you, it gives a guidelines for the political parties, do's and don'ts, okay, set of rules for the political parties as well as the members. Then prohibition to garner the votes in the name of caste and communal lines. And even do remember, in the name of religion, like wherever you go, like temples or church or mosque or anything, okay, so there you cannot ask for votes. In case if the candidate visit any temple also, he should use it only as a place of worship only. Outside the temple, again, he can start his campaigning, but within the temple premises, he cannot ask for votes, okay. That is against a violation of model code of conduct, okay. Then absence of statutory backing. That is why even we have MCC also, there is no backing, no. That is why most of the violations are still happening, okay. So in case if still happens, okay, or in case if there is no serious type of like you can say violation of these provisions, then what happens? Like in the case of Rahul Gandhi's case here, okay, when he made a remark and all. So what they can do, they can say, Election Commission of India has to take care about model code of conduct. No, they can simply say for next 2-3 days you cannot participate in any political campaigns. Okay, like that they can warn in case if it is not of serious nature. Okay. Then there are the provisions. So under which provisions means Representation of People's Act in Indian Penal Code. Under these provisions, they can even be subjected to some punishments, okay, in case if they have appealed. Then one case is Bal Thackeray's case in Shiv Sena, okay, when he appealed in the name of religion, okay, so he was disqualified from contesting in 1995. This is one situation you can quote in case if you have to. Then what is this prohibition from campaigning means? As I told you, in case of small situations for 2-3 days or something, they can bar from campaigning. That's it. Small lighter punishments can be given. But what is the Supreme Court ruling in this regard? So there are 2 cases filed, okay, and recently this Abhiram Singh versus D. Komachan case of 2017, what did Supreme Court say is you cannot. It has prohibited asking votes in the name of religion. Means it has upheld, okay, section 123 clause 3 of Representation of People's Act. Supreme Court said whatever the provisions are there, that is correct. Okay, you have to adhere to the model code of conduct and you cannot ask votes in the name of religion. That was clearly set down again by the Supreme Court in this particular case. Second you have is Ramesh Yashwant Prabhu versus Prabhakar Kashinath Kunte case. In this case what they said is Supreme Court has used one statement, no person, okay, no person can be denied votes in the name of religion. Means for example, as you are a Hindu, okay, you cannot say, like any person cannot say as a Hindu, I cannot vote for him. On the grounds of religion, you cannot vote anyone, or no one can vote in the name of religion also. The same thing, okay. They said this particular statement. That means religion has nothing to do with voting. Then only it can become actual picture of democracy. That is what Supreme Court has opined in this case also. So these you can quote in case if you want. Then what are the recommendations? How you can ensure secularism? All these are there to ensure secularism only, no? What is secularism? When you treat all the religions equally, there should not be any official religion of our own, no? So what provisions you have under Indian Constitution with respect to secularism? First thing is, you have in preamble, no, the word secular. 42nd Amendment Act has introduced this provision, right? Yes or no? Then fundamental rights, are there any provisions? 25 to 28, 14, 15, 16. These are also the provisions, no, which ensure secularism. Then DPSP, do we have any provision? Uniform Civil Code, that is also there to ensure secularism. Then with respect to fundamental duties, there is a duty imposed on all of us that we should not cause any communal harmony. Okay, we should not destroy communal harmony. Okay, that is also a fundamental duty. Apart from this, we have Article 326 or 325 when we say adult franchise is there. That means there is equal treatment for all, no? Irrespective of your caste or language or religion, you should give voting rights to everyone. That is what Article 325 is saying, universal adult franchise. That is also a provision of secularism, you can say, yes or no? When you are allowing everyone to contest elections, okay, like to the post of president, vice president, those provisions also, but indirectly I am saying, implicitly they are there. But explicitly, secular provisions are there in these parts of Indian constitution. Clear? Then these things can be suggested to better, okay, secularist attitudes, you can say, addressing legitimate concerns, avoiding religious appeals and avoiding places of religion for campaigns and speedy redressal mechanism in case if there is a dispute. Okay, so these things have to be decided fast and you can allow the party to campaign. So then what is this Representation of People's Act 50 and 51? First thing you need to remember is Indian Constitution has clearly given some set of criteria for every post, political post you can say. Okay, like in case if you want to contest for president's office, any person who is a citizen of India and above 35 years of age, okay, this person, and he should have eligibility to become a member of Lok Sabha. Yes or no? These are the three criteria which are specified by the Constitution of India. Apart from this, like for members of parliament or members of state legislature, what did Constitution say? They said citizen of India, 25 years for Lok Sabha, 30 years for Rajya Sabha, and they said other than these, okay, Parliament by law can introduce any such qualifications, means addition qualifications can be introduced by subsequent Parliament law. In addition to these provisions, means Constitution said what they thought or correct at that time, and in case if any need arises, such things can be specified by Parliament law. So those laws were made in the form of Representation of People's Act 1950 and 51. Means they said for fighting elections or to contest or to become a member of Parliament or state legislature, there can be some set of criteria you need to fulfill. Those are listed out under these two acts. So what are these two differences means? It is very easy here. These are dealing with before election thing. Okay, before election means first thing, preparation of electoral rolls, means in the constituency who are all eligible to vote. Electoral roll means name of all the voters, no? So that will be one of the thing covered under electoral roll, you can say. Then qualification of voters. Voters means here who are voters? Anyone above 18 years. Okay, so these people who are eligible to vote, those also will be decided under Representation of People's Act 1950. Then delimitation of constituencies. Okay, you know delimitation happens. Delimitation means you are demarcating the constituencies or the boundaries. Yes or no? So that will be done under Article 82. You have Delimitation Commission which was constituted subsequently by President of India, right? So that also is covered under Representation of People's Act 1950. Then what is another provision? Allocation of seats. Allocation of seats in Parliament and state legislature. Okay, so how many seats should be there in the Parliament and state legislature? Number. Okay, and all these things will be decided under Representation of People's Act 1950. This will deal with pre-electoral things, easy to remember. You can rule out the options also in case if you remember this particular thing. Then Representation of People's Act 1951 deals with after as well as during elections, what has to be done. Okay, for example, polling itself. Okay, polling, and at the same time you can say qualifications of candidates along with disqualification. These two things you can say. And what happens? Conduction of elections you can say, and administrative machinery which is required to conduct elections. Okay, after elections if there is any election dispute, all these things will be set under Representation of People's Act 1951. Even most importantly, you have registration of political parties also under Representation of People's Act 1951 itself. Okay, because if you have remembered in the recent time, we have electoral bond scheme, right? Okay, and in this became a lot of controversy, right? And under electoral bonds, not all political parties are eligible to receive funds, right? Only some parties. Which parties means? Which are registered under Section 29A of Representation of Peoples Act 1951. Okay, only these parties can receive electoral funding from electoral bonds. Like these things are covered under Representation of Peoples Act 1951. Clear? For example, if Constitution says, okay, who are disqualified, and in case if they contest elections, who cannot even become a member of parliament or legislature, means if the person is having unsound mind, or if he was discharged as insolvent, or in case if he loses citizenship of India, or if he violates any other provision and given under Representation of Peoples Act 1951. So what is this act saying with respect to disqualification? In what situations you can be disqualified? Just now I told you, no, when you're campaigning in the name of religion, you will be disqualified. For example, today you are not, against you there is no complaint, but subsequently after you getting elected, there is some video clipping or something that came out saying that you have appealed in the name of religion, okay, then also that amounts to corrupt electoral practice and you can be disqualified, okay. Or Rahul Gandhi's case we have seen, no, in case if he is imprisoned, any person if he is imprisoned for 2 or more years, okay, then what happens? He will be disqualified for next to 6 years. Lily Thomas case we have, okay. Then we have, in case if he is failing to lodge his electoral expenses, okay, to the election commission, if he doesn't disclose, or if he is not disclosing his criminal things, okay, and he is stating wrong facts and all. In these situations, apart from the whichever things are stated by the Constitution, they can be disqualified. Means qualification details also there, at the same time disqualification details are also there, okay. So these are the things which are discussed under Representation of Peoples Act 50 and 51. Clear? Then we are going to look into one science and technology topic. Why I have chosen is sickle cell anemia is so much in news, okay, because of number of reasons. First thing is, in 2023 budget, okay, union budget, central government has launched a mission to eliminate sickle cell anemia by 2047. Why 2047? 100 years of independence, no? By that time we wanted to completely eliminate sickle cell anemia, okay. I'll explain what is this disease, just remember. And second thing is, in the recent times only, US FDA, you will listen, no? FDA means with respect to drugs, okay, in USA. So that particular organization first time has given approval for 2 drugs, okay, to cure the sickle cell anemia. That is first time in the world. With respect to CRISPR-Cas9 technology only, they have given permissions. So what is this technology? What is the sickle cell disease and how it helps? I'll explain. Okay. First thing, try to understand what is sickle cell anemia. Okay. Anemia means what? Deficiency of iron, right? Okay. So what you need to know is, first thing, hemoglobin in blood, you know, no? Hemoglobin is a protein that carries oxygen to all the tissues in the body. That is a primary function. So hemoglobin will be present in yes, RBC. In blood you have 3 types, no? RBCs, what they have to do? They have to carry oxygen and carbon dioxide, transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. At the same time, they have to maintain acidic base balance also in the blood. Okay, these are the primary things which are carried by RBC. In this RBC only we have hemoglobin, which is a protein. I'll come to this in a while. And you have WBC. Again, in this you have B cells, T cells we are using for cancer technologies, no? What is the main job? They have to fight against infections. Okay, these WBCs are considered as scavengers of the body, no? Okay, and you have blood platelets. What they have to do? Yes, they want clotting of blood. Okay, with respect to this, these are the primary functions. Here, as we have hemoglobin, so what is the main function is they have to carry oxygen. Okay, and how they will be there means these proteins will be circular in shape, but in some situation abnormally they'll become, and instead of circular shape they'll become in the sickle shape. Sickle shape means like this. Okay, so normally if this is a blood vessel, okay, if this is a way in which the blood is flowing like this, if the hemoglobin is there, there will be easy flow of the blood. But in case if the becomes in the sickle shape, this valve is getting blocked, no? Means oxygen transportation is becoming difficult now. In case if the change their shape and all. So at that time, this whatever the hemoglobin and the red blood cells are there, they become very hard and sticky. Okay, so that easy transportation of oxygen doesn't happen to all the body parts. Then what happens when there is no oxygen supply? There will be easy death. Okay, so in a short time only the RBCs will die. Subsequently, when RBCs are dying, there won't be transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide to all the body parts. Subsequently, the disease will develop. Okay, in this way, sickle cell anemia means normal hemoglobin will become abnormal, means the change in shape will be there and the characteristics. So it is decreasing the oxygen carrying capacity in the body. This is what the situation happens. Okay, so this is the first thing you need to remember. And do remember, this is an inherited disease, means in case if the parents have, that can be inherited. Okay, so why, this is what you have to remember as of now. Then we'll come to this technology, CRISPR-Cas9. Okay, I'll explain what is this, but why this sickle cell anemia is dominant means, especially in the tribal communities, this is so much prevalent. Okay, tribal people are facing this with this, and because of this, which can be rooted easily out. Okay, but still what happens is the unavailability of drugs is there, or other therapies are not functioning well with respect to cure of this particular disease. That is why Government of India is trying to explore different ways through which it can eliminate sickle cell anemia, and they have kept a target that by 2047 we wanted to eliminate this completely from India. Already we have eliminated polio, no? Okay, if you have remembered, March 24th we have celebrated as World TB Day. Okay, in that, what is the WHO target when they wanted to eliminate TB? 2030. They have kept it as a target. But what India said? 25 itself. Prime Minister recently also, he said by the time, not we are waiting till 2030, by before 5 years only we wanted to achieve TB eliminated India. That is what India's target is. Okay, this is WHO's target. Like this, we have 2047 as a target for sickle cell anemia. What is this CRISPR-Cas9? Understand this. This Cas9 is the name of a protein, or this also you can call as molecular scissor. I'll explain what is this. Okay, and this is one technology, nothing but gene editing technology. Normally when you operate a computer, when you wanted to copy something, what you'll do? Cut, copy, paste, no? Same thing is happening in case of CRISPR-Cas9 also. Okay, what happens, I'll explain, simply understand. First thing is, you know, there is a cell in the human body, right? Inside a cell you have nucleus, inside which you have chromosomes. How many are there? 23 pairs, 46. Yes or no? Okay. Inside a chromosome you have DNA, which carries the genetic material, right? And you know, DNA is double helix structure. Here you have some set of bonds you call ATCG. This is a combination. Okay. So normally this is what the DNA will be there. That means, as I told you, sickle cell anemia is an inherited disease. Means in case if the parent have, child can have the possibility also. So then what happens? That means which gene is causing that sickle cell anemia. If you identify, okay, then you can cut down that particular gene in your DNA and you can replace it with healthy DNA. That is what, with CRISPR-Cas9 we are able to solve sickle cell anemia. This is what actually happening. But how we are doing this means, here first thing is you have to identify faulty DNA. Faulty DNA segment means base pairs are there, no? Some sequence will be there, okay? Like for example, ATGG, C, like this CG, AT, like this, some sequence is there in DNA. This gene is causing sickle cell anemia. You have to identify which gene is responsible for the disease first, okay? So that means you have to identify faulty DNA first. Where is it, okay? For which is causing this. Then second thing is you will use mRNA. mRNA means messenger RNA. Messenger means what? Normally Facebook Messenger and all, which gives message, no? So same thing, it is working like a guide in our body. Guide means what? When we are not knowing anything, okay? We'll take the help of a guide, no? At that time, they will give us the way, okay, how to go, how to approach and all. That is the job of the guide, no? Same here also, mRNA will go to this place. It will locate where this faulty DNA is there in the body, okay? Through this mRNA, you are able to identify where this faulty DNA is there, okay? Then, here first sequence will be identified, gene which is wrong, then mRNA will identify its location. It is considered as guide. Then what you will do? You will use this Cas9, okay? Cas9 is nothing but a protein inside our body only, but that will be used as a scissor. Means, for example, if this particular base pair is causing sickle cell anemia, that means this scissor will cut down this, okay? Other DNA will be normal only, but this particular base pair will be cut down and that will be replaced with healthy DNA. In that way, we are trying to solve, okay? So, this technology is very safe, cheap, reliable, okay? But at the same time, it has number of negative consequences also. Why it is negative, I'll explain. Because these technologies, although they're promising, but still it has so many legal and ethical issues also involved. What are those, I'll explain. But first you understood, no? Okay, here, why sickle cell anemia is getting cured with this CRISPR-Cas9. But why now it is in news? Because, so now how we are using this is healthy DNA mar ekkadi nunchi ravali. Where you have to get the healthy DNA? You cannot take DNA of another one, no? Okay, what they're saying is, you know stem cells, right? Stem cells, okay? Stem cells are nothing but unspecialized cells which can develop into another cell, okay? They don't have any characteristic. Like for example, when you're born, okay, that cord will be there, no? Mother's, okay, umbilical cord you can say. From that you can extract the stem cells and you are storing now, no, stem cell banks we are having. So that particular fetal hemoglobin will be there, no? From that you can take the DNA. In case if you have preserved it, you can take from the fetal hemoglobin and you can use the DNA to replace with the healthy DNA here. In that way they are saying this. But what happens with this CRISPR-Cas9 technology is, if you are able to identify gene and you are changing the gene, you are able to solve some genetic disorders. That is a positive thing only. But at the same time, will diversity grow along with this CRISPR-Cas9? Human diversity, is it possible? For example, if I want a baby which is very fair, okay, then I can use CRISPR-Cas9 technology to edit a gene that the baby will be fair. Yes or no? That means designer babies is one negative consequence you can see. China has developed already designer babies, means in which way you want your baby. So the same genes will be placed, or they're editing these genes. So that means how you will have diversity. We are, whatever the form we have is God gifted, no? We can't change except minor things. But in case of CRISPR-Cas9, you are editing on your own and you are making according to your own choice. It will become ethical issue only, no? That is why this CRISPR-Cas9 is considered as a double-edged sword. You are having some benefits, at the same time it is having some negative consequences also, okay? Because when you are developing on your own, okay? So in case if you are causing any gene like cancer causing or something, those will help actually. But if you are creating a gene which will give you lifelong, or there is no death, for example, and then how the human existence will continue? Life and death should go on, no? If somebody is taking place today, birth, means somebody has to die. That is what according to the fate, right? So here, these things cannot happen in case if you are using CRISPR-Cas9. They are altering against the nature. That is what the legal and ethical issues involved in CRISPR-Cas9 technology, okay? But apart from that, here you need to remember is, this technology is being used now to cure sickle cell anemia. Did you understand how we are able to cure this? Okay, now we'll see. The slide you can see here, why it is there means it is an inherited hemoglobin disorder where RBCs become crescent or sickle shape, you can say, and it causes genetic mutation, means the gene will become dysfunctional, okay, you can say. Then these RBCs will lead to anemia, okay, then deficiency of hemoglobin you can say, and then organ damage and premature death also will be there. And if you see, India has third highest number of sickle cell deaths in India, births also, okay. So then after Nigeria and Congo, which are African countries, India is in the third place, and these are most commonly seen in tribal communities, okay. Because of huge prevalence, we wanted to reduce this. And do remember, this is listed as one of the disability under Persons with Disability Act 2016 we have, no? In case if you have sickle cell anemia, you can claim disability also. Means in UPSC you have some provisions, no, like that. According to the disability, you can get PH 1, 2, 3 like categories, no, in that way. So then Do remember this, these type of things can be framed in statements. They can ask, okay, by 2047 we wanted to eliminate. Then what are the challenges I told you? Why we are not able to cure? All means before this CRISPR-Cas9, this drug is used, hydroxyurea, but this is unavailable. It is not that much easy to get this drug. That is why the people are unable to cure. Then blood transfusion. This is very difficult. Not everyone, because again blood grouping should match and the person should be having healthy thing and all. So there is some difficulty in conducting this blood transfusion to cure the sickle cell anemia. Then bone marrow transplantation. This is out of reach because most of the people, they don't get the donors matching requirements and all, and it is also involving high cost. Okay, so these are already existing methods in which you can solve, but they have their own limitations. Okay, as we couldn't solve the problem with these three things, now we have found a new route, that is CRISPR-Cas9 technology. Clear? So here, what is the solution is gene editing technology. Like same way genetic modified crops we have now, there also we are altering them genetically. Same way we are altering it here in human bodies. Okay, so this CRISPR-Cas9 means clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. That is a full form of CRISPR. Okay, UPSC has asked same CRISPR-Cas9 technology twice, 2018 and 19. It has framed a question, what is this related to? Okay, they don't go much deep. In these technologies, they'll ask what is it related to, means you need to know it is a gene editing technology or biotechnology related thing. If you know, you can eliminate from the options. Okay, in this way UPSC test. Now, US Food and Drug Administration Organization, they have approved 2 drugs, therapies you can say. Here no need to remember these names, but these were identified using this CRISPR-Cas9 technology to solve this sickle cell anemia within 12 years and older people. They have successfully tested this for the first time. That is why it is in news. Okay, a promising thing. Then what is the level of CRISPR-Cas9 technology in India means, as I told you, this is posing some legal and ethical issues. It is not easy to allow these type of technologies. Okay, at the same time, national guidelines for stem cell research, they prohibit commercialization of cell bank therapies. Okay, that means commercially you cannot, like for example, if you store your stem cells, okay, that cannot be sold for any person. In that way, commercialization is not allowed. That is one main thing. That is why these stem cells are used to cure the sickle cell anemia. No? This is one issue we have to resolve. At the same time, gene editing stem cells will be only allowed in vitro studies. In vitro means within laboratory only you can allow them. You cannot induce them into human body. As of now, whatever the guidelines are there, these things have to be eased. Then India also have launched a 5-year project with respect to how to cure sickle cell with CRISPR-Cas9 technology, and the main organization is CSIR. Do remember this. Okay, this can also be asked in prelims. CSIR has been given to deal with the sickle cell anemia mission using CRISPR-Cas9 technology in India. Okay, nodal agency you can say. This is asked. Clear with this? Then, 4th topic we have is new collective and quantitative goal or quantified goal. So this is in relation to climate finance. Climate finance. What is this climate finance? You all know we are experiencing climate change, right? Yes or no? Who have contributed to climate change? Which country? To be specific, can you? You cannot name a few countries, right? So, but developed countries have played a major role. Yes or no? Developed countries like US or European countries, they have played a major role because they have used the resources and they have polluted the environment, because of which we are now facing climate change or global warming. That means compared to developing countries like India, developed countries like US and European countries, they have a major role in polluting the climate. These countries like India, we don't have technology, we don't have that much advanced technology and all to pollute the environment, right? So they have to take more responsibility, when they have polluted, they have to take responsibility in ensuring clean climate, with respect to this only we have clean climate finance. Means in 2009, in COP15, this happened in Copenhagen. Where is Copenhagen? Very good, Denmark. In this particular COP, Conference of Parties to UNFCCC we call, okay, it is a climate change convention. where 15th meeting happened in 2009 in one particular place. Every year it will change, okay. So in this particular meeting, what they have decided is, as developed countries have polluted more, they have to give finance or money to developing countries so that these countries will come out of pollution. In easy way, I am putting this, okay. In that way, climate finance has arisen in 2009, okay. Then what did they say at that time? At least by 2020, $100 billion of money, okay, $100 billion of money should be given by developed countries to developing countries by 2020. That is what they have said. But what happened? Did they give 20 by 2020 means already completed? No. Did they give $100 billion? Not even in a single year. Okay, it is just around $24 billion or something. This is what they have given so far. That means they are not able to give $100 billion by 2020. So now in Paris Agreement, they have extended this 2020 goal to 2025. At least by 25, try to ensure that $100 billion will be given. Okay, let's see whether they'll give or not. But what happened when we agreed this extension of target in the same Paris Agreement only? We said this new collective quantified goal or solution. Okay, so this thing also have to be adopted with respect to climate finance. Means this $100 billion every day, if you see, it is becoming more hotter, no? Or it is, we are facing the front, no, of the climate change and all. That means as time passes on, every year is becoming registered as the world's hottest year so far and all. In that way, when the time passes on, will this same $100 billion suffice? No. You have to increase more money. That is what main purpose of this new collective quantified goal. Means this $100 billion money will not be sufficient. You have to give more money to developing countries so that they can fight climate change. That is what, okay. So they can ask this term and they can ask which is related to. UPSC can ask, because in nowhere you can find a clue about climate finance until unless you know, okay. They can play a trap. So why it is now in under cards is here COP29. COP means Meeting of Climate Change Convention, okay. Every year it happens in one particular place. In this year 2024 November December it will happen every year. So in 2024 November December it is scheduled to be held in Baku in Azerbaijan. Okay, you know Armenia, Azerbaijan are also so much in news because of what is a dispute? West Nagorno-Karabakh region. So that is also in news. So here they are going to discuss, no, in this especially they are trying to focus that there will be more focus on the finance. Okay, the main discussion should be on finance. That is what they are trying to put. And what happened previously? We have 2022. Where did it happen? COP 2022. Sharm el Sheikh, no, Egypt. Okay, there what happened? We agreed on loss and damage fund. Okay, then we have 2023 summit happened in UAE, Dubai, no. There what did we discuss? For the first time, global stock take was conducted, no. What is this global stock take? Yes, that means simple. In Paris Agreement, every country has given some commitments, no, which they wanted to meet. Okay, for the first time, review happened in the form of global stock take. Means, for example, you know, India said we wanted to decrease carbon emissions by 33%. We wanted to increase non-fossil energy by 40%, like this. That means they're checking how much is the contribution, how much they're able to meet the target. Okay, by 2030, we wanted to achieve most of the countries, but till then we cannot simply sit silent, no. Because in the meantime, if we sit silent, what happens? Global temperatures will increase above 1.5 degrees centigrade. If it increases beyond 1.5, whatever this $100 billion will be there, it will not even suffice also. Okay, then you cannot reverse the climate change, how much ever you pour in. Okay, that is why now in the beginning only they wanted to test or they wanted to identify how many countries are able to meet those targets. That for the first time happened in 2023 COP summit, which was held in Dubai. First time global stocktake assessment happened and how much fossils we are able to reduce. Okay, with respect to India, do remember INDCs. Okay, whenever there is a question on climate change, you have to quote what is India's INDCs, intended nationally determined contributions. Means what are the targets India kept in terms of climate change. Okay, net zero emissions by 2070, you know, 33% emission reduction, like this you have to keep in mind. And as per them, they wanted to ensure that COP29 mainly will be focusing on climate finance. That is what it is in news. So first thing here you need to remember is, as I told you, loss and damage fund was discussed. It was outcome of 2022 summit. Loss and damage means what? Because of climate change, who are losing mainly? Island countries. If you see, almost because of climate change and Russian invasion of Ukraine, if you consider these two things, okay, these two factors have contributed almost 54 countries. They have got into economic debt because of climate change or because of Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, almost 54 countries in the world, they have gone into economic trap. And if you note, these all 54 countries, how much they're paying, in terms of economic debt, that is 18 times more than what they're receiving in the form of climate finance. That means what they're receiving is less and what they're paying more is 18 times higher. That is what a study is showing. That means these developed countries already have polluted the environment, but they're not taking any responsibility. But who are facing the challenge here? In case if climate change happens, sea level rises, no? Then what happens? Climate change, when it happens, what happens mainly? Glaciers will melt, no? If more and more warming happens, ice will melt, no? Glacier melting, okay? If snows or the glaciers melt, what happens? That water is adding into the oceans, no? That means ocean water will rise. That means when ocean water, see for example, if this is a water level, okay? In case if this is a water level because of climate change, then what happens? It will cause flooding, no? In the coastal areas or the island countries will get flooded, no? If ocean water is rising, land will not rise subsequently, no? Okay, so this is what happening because of climate change. That means in case of any consequences of climate change, who is facing the main threat? Island countries. That is why they're always asking more climate finance has to be given. But now what is estimated is $100 billion will not be sufficient. If you wanted to reverse climate change, this $100 billion will not be sufficient. It should be in $1 trillion, not billion, $1 trillion. That is what one main expectation. And in Dubai, as I told you, first time global stock take happened, and in this they wanted to focus on climate finance. Second thing you can see, main focus of this climate finance or new collective quantified goal is extra money that rich countries need to gather from 2025. At least from 25 they have to give more money, then only we can minimize the climate change consequences. This will be used to support against climate change in the poorer countries or developing countries or island countries. The money should be coming from developed countries, it should be used for developing countries. This is what the idea. And it has to be more than $100 billion. This will not be sufficient to minimize the climate change. Then in 2021, if you see how much money is required, means they have estimated $6 trillion should be required. 100 billion is not sufficient. Okay. And final agreement, if you see in COP27, they have agreed that at least $4 to $6 trillion every year has to be given till 2050. ఇప్పటివరకు $100 billion ఎందుకు లేదు, $4 to $6 trillion every year till 2050. Okay. So what happens here? US is saying, ఎక్కడి నుంచి మనీ అంత తీసుకురావాలి వాళ్ళు? Public నుంచి, private నుంచి, any way they can get. But they have to give to the developing countries and island countries because they have contributed to climate change. But this money, I don't think it will happen. Okay. Because US wants always to expand the donor base. They are not ready to accept it. That is what we have seen, no? Common but differentiated responsibilities, CBDR. This is outcome of Kyoto Protocol. Okay. Kyoto Protocol is major protocol signed under UNFCCC Climate Change Agreement. Okay. This is a major thing under which they said common but differentiated responsibility. Means common responsibility is you have to stop climate change. But it is not common among all. There is differentiated. Developed countries on one hand, they have to take more. Developing countries have to take less. It is differentiated responsibility, but common responsibility. Okay. This is what the main concept. So here you can see challenges, unavailability of adequate finance. It is not there sufficiently in developing countries and it is always less than $100 billion. So if you see, even if it is mobilized also, if $100 billion they are giving annually also, it will not be sufficient to stop 1.5 degrees Celsius increase as we have agreed in Paris Agreement. Okay, this is what the data is showing. Then what is this climate finance currently showing is towards mitigation measures. So in climate change, you will be coming across two terms, no? Mitigation and adaptation. What is the difference between these two? Mitigation means what? Adaptation means what? What is adaptation then? Yes. So adaptation will be coming out of consequences, means you cannot stop it. Okay, but from the consequences, how you want to change yourself is adaptation. But mitigation is you try to eliminate the root cause of the problem itself. For example, climate change is happening, no? To stop climate change, if you are growing forests or afforestation type of things, if you do, what will be there? It will be mitigation or it will be adaptation? Mitigation, no? Because growing forest, you wanted to decrease the climate change. You wanted to eliminate the root cause of the problem. In that way, it forms under mitigation measures. But if climate change is happening, if you are adopting climate smart agriculture or climate resilient agriculture, those will be under adaptation. Okay. So what happened here is developed countries wanted to focus on mitigation. Means they wanted to eliminate root cause. Developing countries like India wants to focus on adaptation, because who is going to face the main issue in case of climate change happens? Because of US and its supreme technology or superior technology, it can decrease the impact of climate change, no? But does it happen with India, where we don't have money? Yes or no? That means US is trying to address the root cause, that is good only. But in the meantime, if consequences arise, who is going to solve your problem? That is why India and other countries are asking for, first you try to eliminate the consequences of the problem, then you can address the root cause. Because till then the root cause will not, till the elimination of root cause, you cannot keep silent, no, you cannot ask, leave the consequences and just sit silent like that. You cannot ask any country, no. So developed countries or enjoying the benefits, island countries or getting extinct, no, completely they are under submergence. Some countries, like if you have remembered, what are the Pacific Island countries? Tuvalu, Vanuatu, all these countries, all the time they are saying in case of climate change, they easily get submerged. They don't have their existence. Till then we can't wait. That is what the stand. So this is what developing countries on adaptation, developed countries on mitigation. Okay. So then what is India's stand is, India wants this money, at least $1 trillion. India is saying if you give at least $1 trillion every year, then it can be easy. Then even in G20 New Delhi declaration also, what they said is it should focus more on renewable energy only. Okay. So you have to minimize fossil fuel usage, fossil fuels like petrol and diesel. So this is saying that $6 trillion almost should be required. Okay. In terms of climate finance, till here the topic is done, but you need to know these from the static part of environment. Okay. So what is this global climate fund, global environment facility? Like this, we have some funds which are there to meet climate targets. Okay. So other, like we have adaptation fund also. What are these? Global climate fund. Okay. The name itself is suggesting climate. With respect to climate issues, how much developed countries have to give to the developing countries, that is covered under Global Climate Fund. Okay. This is headquartered in Incheon of South Korea. Okay. It is headquartered in South Korea, Global Climate Fund. It was outcome of, when was it formed? 2000? Cancun conference. Okay. In this it was formed. Okay. Then you have global environment facility. This is with respect, here it is with respect to climate only, but here it is with respect to environment. Okay. Understand the difference. So this is an outcome of 1992 Rio Earth Summit. Okay. And this mechanism is sponsored by World Bank. World Bank is working as a trustee with respect to this global environment facility. For 5 international environmental conventions, this financial assistance is provided by GEF. What are those 5 conventions? I have already explained in the current affairs. What are those? UNFCCC, CBD, CCD, Minamata Convention, and Stockholm Convention on persistent organic pollutants. Okay, new people don't frighten by these names. Okay, these are all different environmental conventions. Okay, Here first one is UNFCCC with respect to climate change, there is a convention. Then you have CBD, Biodiversity Convention. Then you have CCD with respect to desertification you have. Then Minamata is with respect to mercury pollution. How to stop mercury pollution, Minamata you have. Then Stockholm Convention means with respect to persistent organic pollutants. Persistence means for long, okay, any pollutant if it is released and if it is staying in the atmosphere for very long, those type of pollutants will be tackled by the Stockholm Convention. So these 5 conventions are getting whatever the financial assistance they required from Global Environmental Facility. Okay, these are also related to finance in terms of environment. Okay, then we have adaptation fund. Adaptation, as I already told you, it will be used for adaptation activities. It was adopted in 2001 under Kyoto Agreement only it was set up, but it was established in 2001 to increase adaptation measures with respect to climate change. Okay, so these are static related things which you need to know from this perspective. Clear? Now answer this question quickly. What is the answer? Both. Sure? Any other answer?
Only the second statement.
Who said only second? Very good. So here it is Green Climate Fund I told you. But I didn't mention about UNEP role in Global Climate Fund, right? Green Climate Fund. So World Bank is coordinating, it is UN sponsored fund, but there is no role of UNEP in World Bank. So the statement is wrong. Second statement, it is intended to assist to the developing countries in order adaptation and mitigation practices to counter climate change. This is correct. Only 2 is the answer. Okay. Then we have the next important topic is 13th Ministerial Conference of WTO. In the beginning, we have discussed about WTO. No? Some provisions also we have here also, but it is very much important because in the recent times only we have 13th Ministerial Conference. What is this? MC means Ministerial Conference. Okay, so Ministerial Conference means in WTO it is the highest decision making body. Okay, how many member countries are there in WTO? 190. No. This can be a potential question because in the recent summit only 2 member countries were admitted into WTO. What are those 2? Previously it had 164 countries, okay, but now 2 more countries got added. What are those 2? Comoros. Where is this located? First time vintunar kada? Yes or no? If this is the coast of Africa, what is the island here? You have Madagascar, okay. Here you will be having Comoros. Okay. Then this is one country. Then I don't expect this you will answer. ఎప్పుడైనా అసలు విన్నారా టైమూర్ లిస్ట్ అని? Where is it located? Yes. Here if you have Indonesia and here you have Australia, no? Here East Timor you have and here Timor list will be there. So here approximately, okay. So these 2 countries were admitted into WTO as new member countries in this 13th Ministerial Conference itself. Okay, that means 2 more countries got added. Now 166 member countries are part of WTO. Do remember this. So where this meeting held? It was held in UAE. Okay, Abu Dhabi in UAE also. So here you need to know is what happened here is WTO, if you see, although it has the initial push, but now most of the provisions, okay, they become controversial because like what we have discussed in the earlier topic, developed versus developing countries, same thing is also continuing here also. Okay, what happened here? Developed countries want developing countries to take more their products. For example, if India, US are there, okay, when comparatively, if you see which country has more production, whether US or India, US only, because of technological and economic advancement, they can have more production. So they want India to take more from US. Yes or no? Normally. But what happens if you are importing more? What happens to our domestic market? It will collapse, no? We have to protect our domestic market. Then only what is not there in our domestic market, those things we have to take from abroad, right? So that is why again it is creating a rift between developing countries and developed countries, even in case of WTO also. Okay, developed countries want minimal trade barriers. But in case if you are allowing minimal trade barriers, developing countries will lose their market. Okay, so that is why again with respect to subsidies also there is one issue. I'll explain. Most of you may have heard about different boxes under WTO, right? There is an agreement on agriculture, amber box, blue box, green box, subsidies. How many of you know the difference between these three? And how many of you will give examples also to each box? Yes, those who are sitting for 24, I know your names, please. Sorry, your faces, I don't know your names, but just answer. You have to take more responsibility, differentiated responsibility here. Agreement on agriculture kindane 3 boxes unnai. It's not all 3 are related to agriculture only. What is it? Is it under green box? Electricity. Okay, hold on till then. But first I'll explain what is actually happening. Okay, points of contention. What happened in 13th conference is with respect to public stock holding, there is a difference between developed countries and developing countries. Okay, so what is this public stock holding means? For example, you know in India, okay, after every agriculture season we have production. No? Sometimes we can have bumper production if there is good rainfall and everything goes on well. Sometimes because of erratic rainfall we can have less production also. Yes or no? So when there is bumper production, what government has to do? It has to store the surplus food grains for the next time, no? Yes or no? Where it will be storing? Warehouses and all these things. Food Corporation of India, FCI we have, no? It has the job to collect these things from the market, whatever the rice or food grains are there, and it has to store them, and when the need arises, it can be used. The same thing they're using even in case of PDS also. Public distribution system, you know, no? Where rice, wheat, all these things are supplied, right? So what happens is, here government of India wants to store more because still, even though if you are providing also, there is a lot of people who are suffering from poverty and hunger. Yes? Yes or no? So, to feed them, we need to maintain public stock holding and we have to ensure through PDS. Yes or no? But developed countries like US, they don't want India to keep more. Because in case if we don't have bumper production in 1 year and if you are not storing anything, then what happens? We have to import food grains from them only, no? That means it becomes advantageous for them. Yes or no? That is why they want India and other countries to keep minimal stock holdings. Okay? To which India doesn't agree. Yes or no? ఆకలితో చచ్చిపోతున్నాం అంటే అప్పటి వరకు అమెరికా కోసం వెయిట్ చేస్తారా? Yes or no? With respect to this, there is one main contention. Public stock holding, developed countries on one side, they want very less public stock holding allowed. Developing countries wanted to keep more to feed their population. Okay? So this is one contention. Then in this public stock holding only, if you see, whatever the subsidies you're giving, PDS is also subsidy program only, no, where you're giving at 1 rupee or 2 rupees per kg. So what happened is that WTO is calculating the subsidy prices based on 1986-88 prices. It is outdated, no? At that time, the prices were very obsolete. Okay, you cannot compare those prices with today and you cannot calculate that this much level of subsidy only you can provide. That is why again main contention is happening because India is saying you have to update the prices. Those prices cannot suit to the today's requirements and based on these prices you cannot limit our subsidies. That is what India is asking. With respect to this also there is no agreement or no you can say consensus developed. Then you have to remember that under WTO there is peace clause. What is the name of peace clause? Peace means in case of a conflict, how to resolve the conflict. That is done by peace clause. This was established in 2013 because in WTO also, same way like climate, developed countries on one side, developing countries on another side. What developed countries say to that developing countries will not allow. Developing countries, what they say, developed countries are not okay with it. So to ensure that these two countries will satisfy and some measures have to be taken, this peace clause was established in 2013. Okay, so under this peace clause only, we have this MSP. What is MSP, you know, no? Minimum support price. That means in case of excess production or at that time you will get a good price. But in case if there is a bumper production and there is fall in prices, then what happens? You cannot subject to the market whims and fancies, no? At that time, government will assure that minimum price will be given to you so that you can get a better price normally, okay, compared to the market price, that is MSP, you can say minimum support price. But this is also considered as a subsidy only, no, you are assuring, okay, that you are getting some price. So this MSP, it is against the WTO provisions actually, okay, but this was given an exemption under this peace clause only, because developing countries have huge population which are suffering from hunger and all, or poverty. So to feed them or to make them sufficient, we have to ensure such policies in developing countries. So that is why peace clause has given an exemption or immunity to MSP, although it is a violation of WTO norms. Okay, this is one main thing you have to keep in mind. Then what are the subsidies? In the recent 13th ministerial conference, this is also one issue where in developed countries and developing countries have differences, you can say. So what happened is, developed countries like US, they want more subsidies to be given in industrial shipping. Industrial shipping means to encourage their own companies, okay, to do shipping with other countries. They're giving more subsidies, to which India is opposing, because fishing, all these things, if you see, if they're giving subsidies, what happens? It will lead to overfishing, no? Okay, so as they're giving subsidies, they wanted to exploit more and it will harm the marine ecosystem, right? That is why India is opposing such subsidies should not be given to the developed countries, but developed countries are asking for these subsidies, okay? In this also there is some contention in the recent 13th ministerial conference, okay? So here this is what developed countries like they wanted this and India doesn't want this. They wanted to curb these subsidies. India doesn't want this. This is another important area. Then with respect to DSM, what is this DSM? Dispute settlement body or mechanism under WTO. In case of a conflict, two sides here, to how to resolve this conflict, that will be taken care by this dispute settlement mechanism. But what happened is, this was dysfunctional. This is not functioning at all. Why? Because in WTO or any other organization like World Bank or IMF, if you see, what is happening? Who is contributing more? US, no? Most of the budgetary requirements are getting from US only. So they will stand by US side only, no? So here what happened is, they're not appointing the chairman or the head of this dispute settlement mechanism. So from long it is not functioning. When you are not having such mechanism, then in case of a conflict, now we have seen, with respect to public stock holding, we have a conflict. With respect to these subsidies, we have a conflict. Then how they will solve these problems? That means if these things are not there, then you don't get a major outcome also, unless everyone agrees yes or no. So that is why this is also hurting WTO's functioning in the recent times, because from long this body is not functioning. Okay, so since 2019 you can say it got paralyzed, because US is always obstructing so that no one is getting appointed to this body. Okay, in that way it is stopping. Then apart from this, if you see, what are the other challenges that WTO is facing in the recent times? Protectionist tendencies are increasing, no? Reverse globalization is happening, yes or no? Make in India, yes. Wed in India also is a protectionist measure itself, right? Yes or no? Wed in India is a call given, no? ఏంటి అలా చూస్తున్నారు? మాల్దీవ్స్ ఇలాంటి వాటి పొద్దు మన కంట్రీలో పెళ్లి చేసుకోండి అంటేనే కదా రకుల్ ప్రీత్ సింగ్ కూడా ఇక్కడే చేసుకుంది, తెలీదా? సోషల్ మీడియాలో మీరు యాక్టివ్గా ఉంటారని నాకు తెలుసు. ఐ నో, ఐ ఫాలో ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ. Okay, so such things are protectionist measures which are against WTO, because WTO want globalization. There should be free trade. Okay, there should not be any discriminatory trade. But when you are doing such things like Make in India, or when Donald Trump is about to come as US president, so what he'll say? American first policy. That is what he has said, no? The signals. So these things are increasing, means this is against WTO norms, right? Yes or no? So these things. Then global trade wars also. We have seen between US and China, no? Each one increasing their tariffs and all. So it is hurting global supply chains also. This is also one challenge in the recent times which WTO is facing. So these are some threats. How they have to handle this and how to overcome is the main thing before WTO now. Okay. Then what is the way for India here? How we have to overcome these challenges means, we have to diversify our support mechanisms. Means we cannot depend on one particular mechanism or one country for our requirements. When we diversify, okay. For example, we have seen in case of Pakistan, if you have remembered, even they have stopped our airspace also. Mean, for example, if you wanted to travel to Europe, okay, through Pakistan you have to go. But after this, when we have withdrawn MFN and all, what they have done is they have rejected that they'll not allow Indians or Indian flights to use their airspace. That means when you wanted to go to Europe, you have to bypass Pakistan airspace. You cannot travel through Pakistan. So what is happening? It is increasing the cost of travel and fuel intake will be more, no? In that way, it is trying to trouble India. And also when we wanted to supply wheat to Afghanistan also, at that time Pakistan said, we are not going to give our land route to you. Okay, in that way it is blocking. So in that situation, what you have to do, you cannot rely on one country. I'm saying here in the example. So always we have to diversify our markets. Then investment in agriculture infrastructure. We are giving subsidies, but subsidy is not the permanent solution. It is only short-term solution. Long-term, if you put investments into agriculture and infrastructure related things, then we can, without any dependence, we can eliminate the subsidies also. That can be done. Then promotion of sustainable agriculture. If you decrease the dependence on pesticides and all these things, fertilizers and all, that can be done. Then market diversification, value added products, food processing, all these things if you do, you can get a better price even in case of bumper production and all. Then strengthening of agriculture extension services also, okay, if you are strengthening them, then these things can help India in the dependence on developed countries. Then in terms of WTO, you will be hearing about G33. What is this? What is this G33? G20 and 20? Group of 20 countries. 19 countries plus European Union previously. Which organization got membership in G20 summit in India? Who said? Yes. Someone answered it right. African Union. Yes. Okay. That was the key highlight of G20 summit which was held in India. Okay, we admitted African Union as the new member country. And do remember, who are preparing for the coming prelims, do remember what are the BRICS countries, new membership was given. Okay, so with respect to BRICS, with respect to G20, these things you need to remember. They can ask these type of questions. Okay, then what is this G20? 33 is nothing but group of 33 countries which are developing countries, but which are trying to fight for agriculture subsidies in WTO. Those have formed as a grouping called G33. Okay, normally you will be seeing G4, you have group of 4. What is this G4? I'll explain in a while. Later we have this topic. G7 means group of 7 countries which are developed countries or industrialized, very economically advanced countries. G7 grouping we call, economically powerful countries. Then G20 countries are developing countries. But still, these G7 are also part of G20, okay? They all have this fear in mind. If they're left out, they cannot stay alone, okay? Then we have G33. Then we have G70 or 77 is also there. But you need not go there till, but do remember G33, in case if they ask, it is related to agriculture and WTO. Okay, a forum of developing countries which was formed with respect to this agriculture subsidies and all, okay? This was formed in Cancun summit. This Cancun is in which city? Which country? Mexico. Okay. Then, as I told you in the beginning, you need to know about 3 boxes. Under WTO, there is agreement on agriculture, under which you have 3 boxes: green, blue, and amber box. Easy for you. Just remember, like traffic signals, if you keep green box means you are about to go. Okay. Means whatever the subsidies that will not distort trade. Trade disruption should not be there. That is the main objective of WTO. No? So whichever the subsidies you are giving, but which are not distorting your trade, those things can be allowed. Green, allowed. Okay. So for example, what are these things? If you are giving environmental funding, okay, to improve your environment, or if you are contributing to research, or if you are doing something to educating the farmers how to grow and all. So these things, or if you are trying to enhance the energy supply or something, these things will be not causing any distortion to trade, not directly linked to the productions. So that is why there is no restriction on green box subsidies. These are 100% allowed. Okay. These are some examples. Then amber box is nothing but red box, red signal you can say. That means these are not allowed by WTO, because if these subsidies are given, they are definitely distorting trade. Okay, that means they are not creating an advantageous position in terms of trade. What are these amber box subsidies? Yes, very good. MSP, whatever the subsidies you are giving on electricity, irrigation, fertilizers, seeds, all these things. If you are giving subsidies, that automatically increases your production. No? That means if you are domestically self-sufficient, then what is the need of trade? Yes or no? That is why these subsidies are not allowed by WTO, amber box subsidies. Okay, you can write MSP example, subsidies on seed, fertilizers, electricity, irrigation. All these are examples under amber box. Okay, then what is this principle? I'll explain. De minimis principle we call. Then we have blue box subsidy. Okay, this is nothing but amber box, but terms and conditions apply. Okay, here is where we have this principle also. Blue box means under amber box only, but some provisions can be allowed under some situations. Okay, those provisions are considered as blue box. Okay, orange color you can say. Okay, then what is this de minimis principle is? So normally what I told you is, out of your agriculture production, developed countries can subsidize 5% of their production in their country to feed their own population. But the same thing cannot be given to developing countries, no, because developing countries have more poverty and hunger, right? So they are given 10%. Developing countries can give subsidies. How much they can give is not their own. Okay, out of their production, 10% they can give in the form of subsidies. But developed countries can give only 5% because of economical advancement. This is what we call as de minimis principle. This was one exception given under WTO. Okay. Then we are going to discuss about recent exploration which India wanted to carry on. So if you see, this is Nikitin Seamount, which is in Indian Ocean region. Okay. So, yes. PM Kisan Yojana. Direct benefit you are giving, no. That is under green box only. Income support, no, you are not directly helping in the production. Okay, you are giving that in the income support only. But if the 6,000 money is not used in agriculture, what you can do? It's not directly linked, no, it is under green box also. Okay, then see here, this is a coast of India. Yes or no? You know, normally some terms, you know, like territorial waters, contiguous zone, then you have, what is this? After contiguous zone, what you have? Exclusive economic zones. Then you have high seas. Okay, so I'll explain this. So first thing is, from the coastline, okay, if you go 12 nautical miles, this is a measurement, 12 nautical miles, then you call them as territorial waters. That means coastal areas will be under their control itself, state's control only. Here only they will establish ports or these things, all these under territorial waters only, 12 nautical miles from the baseline. Okay. From 12 nautical miles, if you go another 12 nautical miles, or if you go 24 nautical miles from the baseline, you call it as contiguous zone. Okay, here also the government will have free, they can prevent. Okay, here there will not be any right to innocent passage and all. That means foreign country ships cannot come here and they cannot say by innocent way we came here and all. So these things completely under, and they enjoy full sovereignty of the state. Okay, then from the baseline, if you go 200 nautical miles, then it is exclusive economic zone. Okay, that means exclusive, the name itself is suggesting it entirely belongs to India or whichever the country we are talking about. Okay, so here what happens within the 200 nautical miles from the coast. Okay, so that country which is having, it can have complete freedom to exploit the resources, it can conserve the resources, it can preserve the resources, or it can exploit anyway. Okay, so complete freedom is there with respect to EEZs also. But if you cross this 200 nautical miles, till here only Indian Navy will have the control. Okay, so after this what happens? You are entering into high seas. This high seas doesn't belong to any country. It is open. Okay, no, you cannot go and you cannot mine or you cannot extract resources from this particular high seas. Okay, now why I am discussing this is, now India is here. Okay, that means even if you go till here also, exclusive economic zone completes. Then why this much deep India wants, or this much distance why India wants to go and why it wants to explore? Okay, that is the challenge here. Okay, because it is not under the exclusive economic zone of India, but still why and how India wants to explore this particular resource rich region is the question. Okay, so this Nikitin Seamount, you need to know, it is an Indian Ocean region. Okay, so what happens is, normally in the marine floor or sea floor, not only on the land, you know, in marine surfaces we have lot of mineral resources, no, so they will be there in the form of polymetallic nodules. Okay, poly means many, no, Okay, many metals, they will be there in one particular place we call as polymetallic nodules. For example, normally if you see iron reserves means some pockets will find on the land, but in the ocean floor, iron, copper, gold or some other metals, all those will be found at one particular place itself. Those we call as polymetallic nodules. So why these are important? Because in the recent times, okay, if you see, we are shifting from fossil to non-fossil, or we are developing, we are using more electric gadgets. No? If you wanted to use your mobile phone, previously we used to use silicon batteries, but now lithium batteries. Okay, in the future we may use some other thing, but in India, if you see, we are not having sufficient lithium reserves. Recently it was discovered in Jammu and Kashmir, but previously we have to take from other countries. No, lithium triangle countries, what are those? ABC, Brazil, Bolivia and Chile. Okay, ABC countries. So these are the three lithium producers in the world. ABC, you can remember shortcut. Okay, so from these countries we are taking the help. Argentina, we have signed an agreement also. But now, in case if we are given a permission, okay, who has to give the permission if you wanted to mine beyond your exclusive economic zone? Means International Seabed Authority. Okay, so this is an organization which is under UN clause. Okay, United Nations Convention on Law of Sea. Okay, so under this we have this International Seabed Authority. So if this Seabed Authority gives us permission, because it is beyond our exclusive economic zone where we don't have rights to mine the resources. Okay, so if we were given permission, then we can extract the resources from this, like cobalt, gold, nickel. Okay, so because these are critical minerals which are very important at this point of time for our economic growth, as at the same time China is trying to exploit Indian Ocean. That is the most important reason. As China is increasing its presence, if we don't exploit Indian Ocean region, we don't become economically developed. If you are depending on imports, okay, it becomes as costly, you know. So, but if you are trying to explore on your own, then you can use it for your economic growth also. That is why India has shown willingness in this Nikitan Seamount, and it has filed an application with respect to this in International Seabed Authority. Okay, so for this permission to get and all, why India has filed a application? Because even Sri Lanka was given an exception and it was allowed to mine in this Nikitan Seamount recently only. Because of the same reason, when Sri Lanka got application and exemption, so why can't India? That is why India has filed an application. Okay, and do remember, this is beyond its exclusive economic zone. Okay, so if they have to mine beyond your zone, then they have to take permission from this. It is not random also. They have to conduct a scientific study. Okay, they have to show some proofs and scientific studies, then only this International Seabed Authority will be giving us permission, okay, to mine the resources of the scientific study and all. So next most important thing is you need to remember about the Seabed Authority also. They can ask a question, when it was formed, where it is headquartered, how many member countries are there and all. Okay, where is it headquartered? Kingston in Jamaica. Jamaica is a Caribbean country where you have 169 member countries, 168 members and European Union, 169. Okay, headquartered in Jamaica, formed in 90s. If one particular year is given, what you will do in the exam? 90? 90s. 6 or what? 94. Any other answer? Okay. So this is what I told you. It was headquartered in Jamaica and they are not part of the jurisdiction, means beyond exclusive economic zone. So India has applied with respect to this Nikitan Seamount, which is cobalt rich crust. Okay, normally in the ocean floor we will be having some cobalt rich, some rich in sulfides, some rich in polymetallic nodules. It depends on the height. Okay, all those are geological formations. You need not go that deep. But here, as recently Sri Lanka claimed and got an exception under this, so India also filed in the same way. So India has applied because hydrothermal vents, you know, when volcanic eruptions happen, that is why how the metals will be coming out. No, all the precious metals are coming from volcanic lavas only. Okay, after solidification and all. So these polymetallic sulfides, especially in the Carlsberg region also, which is in Central Asia, this is also important. Like Nikitan Seamount, from here also we wanted to extract cobalt. This is another area which we wanted to explore. So do remember this. So we wanted to mine copper, zinc, gold and silver from these areas. That is why India has filed. And this Nikitan Seamount is in Central Indian Ocean basin, which is far away from Indian's coast, and it is rich in these things: cobalt, nickel, manganese and copper, okay, especially. Then why India wants is potential of Indian Ocean. It has large, huge potential. At the same time, critical minerals are very much important, okay. When you're shifting from fossil to non-fossil fuel, we required electric vehicles, means lithium ion batteries, no? Lithium, where you're getting again? From these sources only. So like this, when we wanted to achieve net zero emissions by 2070, or when we wanted to get advanced, critical minerals means which are very important for economic growth of the country. So these are very rare in existence on land. So such things can be exploited only if you go beyond this. That is why they have applied. And geopolitical concerns about China's dominance. And these are the reasons why India has applied this application for extracting this from the open sea. It is open sea because beyond exclusive economic zone. Open sea means no country can claim the sovereignty. They cannot have right. Okay, where you see 60% of the world's seas are open and they're rich in the mineral wealth. That is why you have to file an application and get the permission. Currently, no country got commercial extraction permissions to open in, to mine in the open oceans or open seas. You can see it was established International Seabed Authority under UN Clause 94. Okay, headquartered in Kingston, Jamaica, and 169 member countries are part of this. What is the main objective of this is how to conserve marine non-living resources. Non-living, okay, like metals and all these things. This is a job. Then there is also with respect to continental shelf. You know, continental shelf is adjacent to our coastline, no? Okay, so there also we have this, but this is yet to be awarded only because we are wanted to go beyond 300 nautical miles, okay, around 350 nautical miles, continental shelf extraction also, but this is also have to be given. How they will be giving is based on scientific evidence and exploration rights, okay, they will examine these things. So there is one commission on continental shelf that also will examine along with International Seabed Authority. After that only they will be giving us permission, okay. So this is what I explained. First one is territorial sea, contiguous zone, 24. From the coastline, 200 nautical miles is exclusive zone. Any country will have maximum limit till here only, okay. Here only you can restrict anything. Beyond which it is high seas. You cannot restrict any country or you cannot exploit the resources here, okay. From where Indian Navy cannot go, okay. These are the things. So as I already explained, these are the things which are mentioned also. I'm skipping these things. High seas and exclusive economic zones. Now we are going to discuss about another topic, that is South China Sea. Okay, so why this is in news, you know, all the time. Okay, so China wants to exert claims over, and it is claiming 90% of South China Sea. Okay, so if you see the South China Sea and its red color line, you can see, no. So where is China? Here it is. Okay, and if you see this place, it is around 2000 kilometers away from the Chinese coast, but still they're saying this is China's. And they say even Arunachal Pradesh also, no. Recently they have condemned Prime Minister's visit to Arunachal Pradesh and all, okay. So all the countries, so they have limited only to Asia now, but in future they'll say entire world is ours. Yes or no? Okay. So why this China is so much interested in South China Sea? Okay. So if you see, this is called as 9-dash line, okay, which was given by then Communist Party of China in 1940s only. They have given this, okay, which is extending even 2000 kilometers from the coast of China. But what happened is now in 2023 itself they have given a new concept called 10-dash line, not 9 dashes, no. 10 dashes means they're always in the mode of expansion, okay, they're claiming more. So if you see here, now the issue is with respect to Philippines, okay. So they are constructing artificial lands, and mainly you have to remember the main point of discussion is around Second Thomas Shoal. They can ask this place and where it is associated with, or where is in, where you can relate this. So it is related to South China Sea dispute. So here you need to remember about these islands which are always contentious in the South China Sea. Okay. So for this, Spratly Islands, these are mainly artificial reefs which China is constructing, and it is also militarizing these things. Okay. So Spratly Islands. So Brunei, Vietnam, Philippines, everyone is claiming this along with China. Then you have Scarborough Shoal. This is under exclusive economic zone of Philippines, but still China is claiming. Understand the situation. This is under the EEZs of Philippines, but still China is saying this is ours. same is happening with Paracel Islands also. So not only China and Philippines, Brunei, Vietnam, Taiwan also is coming in the meantime, saying like I'm also one of the party to this dispute. Okay, so in this way, South China Sea is always becoming a dispute. So you can see number of colors different countries are claiming. Okay, so these are the disputed areas. You can see here colors and the countries. No need to remember, but just remember the name of the areas. So here you can see mischief reef. These names can be asked by UPSC. Okay, so they can give these things or in news related to mischief reef. And as I told you, in the recent conflict between China and Philippines, it is associated with second Thomas Shoal. Shoal is nothing but an artificial reef type of thing. Okay, so then first Thomas Shoal, this was already announced. Okay, and then Half Moon Shoal and Woody Island also was developed by China. Woody Island. Okay, they're developing artificially to militarize it. They have established an air base there. So that is why they named it as Woody Island. Okay, so these are all associated with South China Sea dispute only. Okay, do remember. And why the South China Sea is so much important for China? Because of number of reasons. Okay, first thing is it is very rich in oil and natural gas. Okay, almost like you can say 10 to 20 billion barrels of oil is expected to be there in South China Sea region along with natural gas. Then it is most important shipping route. Okay, because 80% of global trade by volume, 70% by value, it is passing through South China Sea because it is the place where Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean are getting connected. No? Okay, that is why even India's 55% of trade is passing through the same route. That is why India is always asserting whenever it meets any anti-China country, they'll be saying free, open, inclusive Indo-Pacific. That is what the common statement we see in the newspapers every time, because always we are asserting, we are not accepting the China's claims because our trade also will be under trouble. Then third most reason is fishing. This is also important in terms of fishing. Half of the world's fishing vessels are there in South China Sea only. This is important in that context also. In this way, South China Sea is having lot of importance. And from prelims perspective, do remember, South China Sea and East China Sea are getting connected with, what is a strait? Very good. What is other name of Taiwan Strait? Formosa Strait. Okay, this can be a question because Taiwan is also so much in news. Okay, South China Sea, East China Sea, they're getting connected. Strait means which connects two water bodies. No, it is named as Taiwan Strait, also called Formosa Strait. Okay, then you have South China Sea is getting connected with Philippine Sea. Okay, Philippine Sea, what is the strait? Luzon Strait. Okay, these are the things which can be asked because it is in news. You need to know these things. And do remember, Gulf of Thailand is also part of South China Sea only. Okay, these type of things you need to remember. Then this is a disputed area. I'm not going to discuss again in detail. So why it is in news? Because in the recent external affairs visited some countries of Southeast Asia like Singapore, Philippines and all. So when he visited, he said we are asserting our complete support, okay, with respect to Philippines in South China Sea, and we are upholding your national sovereignty. That is what he made. So here you need to remember, in terms of Philippines, what is the in terms of international financial institution which is headquartered in Philippines? Very good. ADB in Manila in Philippines. Along with this, we have another organization also. Very good. I didn't expect. Very good. Indian Rice Research Institute. Okay. So, who worked from India in this institute? MS Swaminathan. Okay. So, this is an institute which is also headquartered in Philippines. And do remember, Philippines is giving a famous award called Ramon Magsaysay Award. Yes or no? ఏంటి అలా చూస్తున్నారు? రామన్ మెగ్సెసే అవార్డ్ ఎప్పుడు వినలేదా? That is also being awarded by Philippines government only. Okay, do remember these things. And in the ancient times, we used to refer Philippines as Srivijaya and Majapahit empires. In the ancient time book and all, we have these names associated with Philippines. And do remember, we are always asserting this free, open Indo-Pacific, and there should be freedom of navigation also. Then if you see disputed second Thomas Shoal, this is a contention between Philippines and China in the recent times. And you can see along with Philippines, these are also the other countries who are asserting the claims over South China Sea. So I told you what is the importance of South China Sea, and UN clause, you know, okay. This is main body which is claim with respect to these claims over the islands or exclusive economic zones. The deciding body will be UN clause. So this is also called as Law of Sea Treaty. It was formed in 1982. Under this UN clause only you have International Seabed Authority, which we have discussed in the previous topic, right? Along with this, we have International Tribunal for Law of Sea, and you have Commission on Limits for Continental Shelf. This is also examining. Along with these two, they will decide Nicotin Seamount issue with respect to India. Then we have National Disaster Response Fund. Okay, why this is in news? Because Karnataka has launched a protest, and even it went to Supreme Court also against Center, because Center is not releasing the money which it required from NDRF. Okay, so where this was established, NDRF, under National Disaster Management Act, when it was enacted 2005. Who will head this authority? Prime Minister is the chairman. Nodal ministry is Ministry of Home Affairs. Now tell me, disaster management forms under which list? Union list. Then why we have SDRF? State Disaster Response Fund is also there. State Disaster Management Authority is also there. Interestingly, it is under residuary list. It is not covered in any list. It is under residuary. Who have the powers with respect to residuary list? Parliament, right? That is why. Okay, do remember, disaster management is under residuary list. Residuary, that is what I am saying. The word may be different, but residuary, okay. So here the fund is managed, NDRF is managed by central government itself, okay. But what happens whenever there is emergency situations in any disasters, to provide relief and rehabilitation, they will be using this money from NDRF. Where it will be kept means it will be kept under public account. You have three funds, no? Consolidated fund, contingency and public account. Under public account, this NDRF money will be kept so that they will not require any parliamentary approval, you know. Okay, so that is one most important thing. And whatever the money that is kept under public account, it is not interest bearing. Do remember, okay. And NDRF money will be audited by Controller and Auditor General. Do remember this. They can frame this statement, okay. At the same time, you have to remember this fund covers both natural as well as man-made disasters also. That is most important provision you have to keep in mind. It can be terrorist attack also, which is man-made disaster. For that also money will be coming from NDRF. Okay. So what happened in this Karnataka issue case is, as Karnataka government, you know, the water crisis is there and drought situations are there in Karnataka. So they're asking some money. So they have SDRF, no, you can question. So when there is SDRF, why again they're asking from NDRF? When that money is not sufficient, okay, which is there in SDRF, they can claim more from NDRF. Okay, but center is not giving or releasing these funds. That is why they have taken this to the center, sorry, Supreme Court, because you know, when there is a conflict between center and states, under original jurisdiction of Supreme Court, original and exclusive jurisdiction under Article 131 of Indian Constitution. Okay, so it has to be decided by Supreme Court itself. So it has taken the matter to the center. So what you have to keep in mind, I have told you already. Public account doesn't require any parliamentary approval. And in what situations you can take this fund? NDRF fund means earthquakes, you can see here, all the disasters, including pest attack, locust attacks also, okay? And cold waves, these are the recent things we are seeing, no? Heat waves and cold waves, they also have included these things in the disaster list, okay? So then do remember, what they have to remember is immediate relief has to be given normally, but do remember this is not as a compensation. It is not at all a compensation, and it is not given like to prevent the measures or to prevent the disasters. After the disasters occur, then only they will be releasing these funds. It is not like a compensation, but to provide relief and rehabilitation. And most importantly, it covers man-made disasters, even like chemical, biological disasters, nuclear disaster, terrorist attacks, okay? Like Bhopal gas tragedy, if these things happen also, it can be covered under NDRF. And sector-wise damages can be given. At the same time, damage and grants also, okay? So center can release these things under NDRF. So emergency not used for disaster preparedness. So normally these are the other things, but who will be giving the money means there is National Executive Committee under this National Disaster Management Authority Act only, NDMA. This executive committee will be releasing the funds by taking the decisions with respect to release of money, how much they have to give and all. So here you can see this is a committee. And source of financing from where they're getting this money is important. Again, cess. You know, cess is exclusive prerogative of the central government, okay. So it is a special tax levied for specific purpose. So for this, from cess only the money will be going to the NDRF, okay. So this is what you have to keep in mind, and it is even it can be given from general budgetary sources also, and COG will audit this, try to remember, because they can have discrepancies in this, okay. Now answer this question quickly. It's very easy. I made your job easy because you will be in the sleeping state for long, no? Only two? It doesn't cover man-made disasters is wrong. I told you just now. Okay. First statement is right. Public account, parliamentary approval is not required. Audited by CAG. So only two statements here are correct. Okay. Then we have European Union's Digital Markets Act. Although issue is not so important for you, but you need to remember from examination perspective, they can ask Digital Markets Act recently seen in news is related to, and they can give groupings, okay. In that way you need to remember European Union. So what is this Digital Markets Act is? Initially first you need to remember that European Union, when it has enacted this act, it has given gatekeeper status. Who are gatekeepers normally? Watchmen or security personals, right? So bouncers sometimes you can say. So these persons, they will be watching who have to enter, who should not enter. That is the main job of the gatekeeper, no? So but sometimes these gatekeepers can also provide the services which have to be provided, right? So this gatekeeper status is given to 6 MNCs, you can say, global giants, tech giants you can say. Like for example, Alphabet. You know what is Alphabet? It is a Google's sub-company, no? You can say, okay. Then you have Meta, Facebook's Meta you have. Then Amazon, Apple. Then Microsoft, very good. Then there is a Chinese company, Dance. Yes, TikTok. These are banned, no, like this we have a Chinese company, but most of the times if you see all these 4 and this except this one which is Chinese, some dance companies there. So these 5 or 2 US giants only, no, okay. So tech giants. So what happened is now these people, what they're doing is, if this Digital Markets Act was not brought, okay, so they are controlling the internet, no. If you see, they're specialized in different things. Meta in social media, Amazon in e-commerce, Apple, if you see, across the world 18% of the population are using Apple related products, okay. So Apple, they themselves will decide, no, who have to be given chance in the App Store or not will be decided by Apple only, no. Means information access is being regulated by these companies only, no. Yes or no? In social media also they can send posts which are favorable to them. Yes or no? In that way, in this way, what they're doing is they can politically manipulate also. In the elections, they can gain an advantage, or they can show some willingness towards some government, or they may show hatredness and they can like propagate something against the government like this. Okay, so because of this, these things have to be regulated. Okay, these tech giants cannot be given free hand. That is why this Digital Markets Act was brought by European Union. Okay, so these gatekeepers, okay, they have complete leeway. They can polarize the situation, they can take advantage, or they can say that their own products can be given at a better price, and they cannot ask, they cannot allow even other products to be sold in their platform. Yes or no? It is again their discretion, no? In this situation, why European Union again? You think European Union and US will have always good ties, no? Then if these are US tech giants, then why European Union is taking some action in a negative way? Because they have already, there are some chances and there are some news releasing that sometimes these tech giants are favoring the governments, or they're even showing hatredness towards some governments, and they're polarizing and propagating, so that elections also will be affected because of these things. Okay, that is why European Union said they wanted to ensure that political things, no, they cannot allow these companies to rule what has to be done in Europe and all. So that is why they have brought this Digital Markets Act, and they started controlling these tech giants. Okay, this is what the aspect you need to remember: controlling of tech giants. So here, this is the most important thing is with respect to European Union, you need to remember. If they wanted to create competition, that's it. Okay, they don't want any monopoly. The main objective of this act is prevention of monopoly, and they wanted to ensure competition. In India, you have Competition Commission of India. No? This is a regulatory body which was established under Competition Act of 2002. In the same way, we have this Digital Markets Act in the European Union entirely. Okay, so to prevent monopoly and to make the platform more contestable. So these are the things. Gatekeepers, I already told you, these are large digital platforms which can be providing the core services like online search. You know, Google, how much every information is coming through Google only, no. They can even send misinformation also. But in case if it is coming in the Google, you will think it is correct only, no. That means they have even chance of spreading the misinformation also, false propagandas also against the government. That is why there is some need of regulation. Okay. And these are the do's and don'ts are also there for the MNCs. Okay. So under the act they have said these can be done, these things cannot be done. Okay, some set of rules were kept. So these are the things you need to remember. Then key measures means they have tightened the restrictions in the recent time. Okay, they have tightened restrictions on how they can use the platforms and all. And with respect to messaging services also, they're trying to team up and share the users. Okay, how that, because if you see, most of the times we'll be hearing about two terms. One is tying up and building up also. So what happens is, like in case if you're buying any tire, okay, if you wanted to buy a tire on Amazon, if you see, along with tire, the other parts which are associated, they will be showing as an offer, no? Like if you buy tire only, you will have 600 rupees charged. But if you buy tire along with the other parts, okay, it will be giving it a discounted price. That means two different sellers will be coming together and they're selling, no? That means they wanted to promote those sellers who are selling their products only. So in that way, they're trying to influence the market also. That is what this European Union doesn't want to happen, because it is against competition, monopoly type of things. So presenting users with the opinion to uninstall also has to be given. Okay, this is one provision they said. That means if you see some default apps, you cannot uninstall. That means even if you don't like, or even if you're running out of storage also, you have to maintain the same apps. You cannot delete them from your phone. So these features should not be there, and they have to give the option of uninstalling also if they don't want. These are the provisions. Okay. Then you can see gatekeepers are banned from ranking their own things comparatively higher at higher prices and all. So these things should not be done. In online searches also, they should not show their own things as a favorite thing. So they should not give leeway to their things. So now the answer you can see like this, a question can be asked. Okay. Digital Markets Act means European Union. Straightforward questions. They don't go much deep in these things. Okay. Then Usha Mehta. Now quickly in 10 minutes I'll wind it up. Usha Mehta, why she is in news, already I told you. Okay, there is a web series released. But in this context, you need to remember these type of personality based questions will be there. Okay, in Indian national movement. So why is she so famous? For running underground radio. No, what is underground radio? You know, this was launched in the eve of 1942 Quit India movement. So why Quit India movement was launched? Who coined the term Quit India? No, Yusuf Meher Ali. He has coined the term Quit India. Okay, it is also called as August movement also we call, no? Because it was adopted on the month of August, 8th August only. So what is the first thing is, you know, after World War II, 1939, when it was broken, okay, so Allied powers wants to ensure India also participates in the war. But British, if they wanted our help, we said we are not going to support unless you give us freedom. So at that time, first thing they did is August offer in 1940. Okay, what did they say? We wanted to frame a constituent assembly after the war, but with mostly Indians, they said. Mostly Indians is a caution. Okay, so that is why we rejected August offer. We want complete Indians in the constituent assembly. Second thing is, after this, they have sent Cripps proposal. Okay, Cripps proposal in 1942. What they said here, entire constituent assembly will be with Indians only. But second provision they kept is dominion status. We are asking from 1929 complete independence, Purna Swaraj onwards, but they are giving dominion status. That is why Cripps proposal is also rejected. What did Gandhiji call this Cripps proposal? Post-dated check. Okay, means you don't know the check which is given by falling bank. That is what he coined, he equated this Cripps proposal. So in this context, when Cripps proposal also failed, then Indian National Congress has launched this Quit India movement. Do or die was a slogan given. Okay, so this Quit India resolution was brought by Jawaharlal Nehru, Wada resolution we call, and it was seconded by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Do remember these things, okay? And Usha Mehta, what happened is, you know, already there are some news coming out that India is going to launch a mass civil disobedience movement. So all the countries know. And British wants to control it, because if they know that India is not supporting them in the World War II, then they'll get pressure from other allied powers. That is why before Quit India movement getting launched only, they have arrested all the main leaders. And at that time, it became leaderless movement also. At that time, these youngsters have taken place. For example, Ram Manohar Lohia, Jay Prakash Narayan, Aruna Asaf Ali, Usha Mehta, these persons, okay, so they came to the forefront and they started taking different things, okay. At the time we have parallel governments also run. You know parallel governments, Jatiya Sarkars, Prati Sarkars in Maharashtra, Tamluk we have, no? ఏంటి అలా చూస్తున్నారు, ఎప్పుడు చదవలేదా? Parallel governments, that is one feature associated with Quit India movement, okay. I'm not going to that detail now, but she also participated at the age of 9 or something. She participated in Simon Go Back protests also, Usha Mehta, okay. So why she organized this underground radio is there is total ban. You cannot propagate anything against British, no. They have arrested everyone. So underground she organized this radio, and through radio she wants to give boost to the Indian national movement by saying what are the victorious things we have launched, like Chittagong Armory raid. Okay, these things she wants to reach it to the many people. So underground she has successfully organized, for which she was jailed also. And in 1946 she was released after the interim government was formed, and from the state of Bombay she was the first prisoner who was released after interim government was formed. In this context you need to remember underground radio, and she was associated with Quit India movement. She is from Gujarat and associated Gandhian ideologist only, you can say. So uncensored news she wants to give, and she want to defy British censorship. So she have highlighted Chittagong bomb raid. So who is associated here? Surya Sen, 1930 Chittagong Armory raid. Surya Sen, you know, revolutionary leader, okay. Then we have, she is the first political prisoner after Morarji Desai, okay. So he was a home minister in the interim government, so he released her, and Padma Vibhushan was awarded in 1998, okay. So these are the things which you need to remember. Then this is most important thing, it can be expected in prelims, because recently India has launched this initiative, financing agrochemical reduction and management form initiative we can call, okay. 7 countries together launched this, and India is also one of the country in this. So it will have lot of importance. So what is this mainly? It wants to eliminate pesticides and plastics in agriculture cultivation. That is what the main intention of this initiative. So mainly, as I told you in the beginning, persistent organic pollutants. Stockholm Convention, I told you, no. GEF, Global Environment Facilities funding. So out of which 5, one have is Stockholm Convention. So that is mainly dealing with persistent organic pollutants. POPs means, see, because of pesticides, some chemicals will be released into the atmosphere, no, but those will be long lasting, okay. They will be there for long, they won't easily degrade. So they will be having huge impact on the environment. So these things have to be eliminated. So we have Stockholm Convention with respect to elimination of persistent organic pollutants. It was signed in 2001. Ratified in 2004, okay. Do remember this. So it is with respect to these things. You have to remember UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, as well as Global Environment Facility together have coordinated this form initiative. This also can be asked in a statement. Do remember these 2 organizations, okay. UNEP is formed out of 1972 Stockholm Conference. Main outcome is UNEP you have, which is headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya, and second outcome you have is World Environmental Day was celebrated from June 5th onwards in that same Stockholm Conference of 1972. Then we have GEF, I told you 5 things associated with, okay. So these are the things. How to phase out hazardous pesticides and agroplastics in the cultivation. That is the main aim, and also they wanted to reduce the carbon emissions. Next we have is postal ballots. So what is meaning of postal ballot? Normally when you have to vote, okay, you have to go to the polling station, stand in the line, and then you have to vote, right? But in some situations, some people cannot vote in the same way, okay? So like for example, military personnel who are there on the border, everyone cannot come and vote, no? Who will guard the borders at that time? Or police personnel, they have to be deployed, no? Or polling personnel who are conducting the elections, they also cannot cast their vote in that particular place, no? They will be going somewhere. So like this, so some people will be given an option of postal ballot, means some forms will be downloaded from ECI's website, they have to vote on that, and they have to send through post or email also. Now it is being allowed, okay. In this way postal ballot will be exercised. So vote from home, you can say, okay. So why this is postal ballot in news? Because recently Election Commission has increased the age from 80 years to 85 years. Means previously who is above 80 years, they can exercise this postal ballot, but now they have increased it to 85 years. Along with persons with disability greater than 40%, they also can exercise this postal ballot, okay. Who all can exercise? Normally postal ballot can be exercised by president, vice president, governors, cabinet ministers, or even the personals, army personals, you can say police, polling personals can be there, or any embassy officers will be there, no IFS officers, foreign officers will be there who are deployed in other countries. They also can exercise postal ballot like this. Okay, these persons are given, and now the election commission also have given for 85 years aged people also to vote from their home. That is what. And recently from Tamil Nadu, you can see the people who are absentee voters also, you need to remember now. Absentee voters means who are absent in line of election duty on the day. For example, bus drivers, metro train or railways, these persons have to run those services, so essential services on the day of voting also. Then only we can vote. No? One people, well, they'll be going from one to another place. So these people will be coming under absentee voters. And at the same time, media personnel, they have to cover no, in different locations about the news related to polling and all. So these will be considered absentee voters. They are also given an option of postal ballot. Okay. So who will be given postal ballot can be asked as a prelims question. Okay. So even by mail they can give, even if they're living abroad, military personnel or who got injured in serving the country, those people also. So here you can see currently who are having service voters. I told you, armed forces, police personnel and government servants posted abroad, IFS officers, and election duty person, polling personals, 85 years or person disability, and preventive detention. This is most important thing. You cannot, they're not charged of any offense, no, they're just kept under detention. So they also have right to vote. This is most important thing. Then what is the procedure I have given? Absentee voters means within 5 days they have to cast their vote and they have to send. And before the polling, first postal ballots only will be counted. Normally, if you see, whoever gets majority in postal ballot, normally those only will be getting the majority most of the times. But what happens is, this postal ballots is violating privacy also sometimes, because in case if you're sending through post, some person can reveal it also. No? There is chance. Okay, violation of privacy, tampering also can happen, or it is not properly democratic according to some persons, and also like this some challenges are also there, but still it will be given to the returning officer who will be the district collector, and it will be placed in the strong room, you know, where the votes and ballots will be placed. Okay, then what is the MCQ answer? Is this correct one? First time voters, no, they have to go. Media persons, yes. Central Armed Police Force, correct. This 85 above now, it is not 80 also. So only two statements here are correct. Okay. Then recent reports. Okay. First one is Lancet. Lancet means normally health related reports. What it has given is with respect to fertility rates. Okay. Fertility rate means normally in the reproductive age. Okay. How many minimum births a woman can give. That is what we consider as fertility rate. Okay. Whether it should be high or low. It should be low, right? Yes or no? 2.1. It was decreasing. No, it is a good sign, because if you're giving more births, then it will definitely impact the reproductive health of the woman, right? That is why total fertility rate should always be less. So if you see global trend, it has decreased from 4.84 to 2.23. India's reduced from 6.8 in 1950s to almost 1.29. It is going to reduce by 2050. This is what you have to keep in mind. Recommendations, increasing contraceptives and increasing the education awareness and all. So these things you can quote in answers related to mains. Then we have fourth global e-waste report. Okay, this is released by an organization called UNITR, means United Nations Institute for Training and Research with respect to e-waste. Okay, so they are releasing a report. You can quote these data. Okay, so that is why I have given. India has been the world's largest e-waste generator or producer. In this context, you have to write about e-waste management rules. You know, 2016 we have, in which you have to write about extended producer responsibility, EPR. This applies even to plastic waste also. The person who is producing the waste, he has to collect, he has a responsibility to collect. That is what we call extended producer responsibility. That applies to plastic and e-waste. Do remember this. And quote these data. How much is the level of e-waste and all. Then WMO, World Meteorological Organization, has released State of Economy Report, okay, 2030. So in that they said 2023 was the warmest year recorded so far, okay. So in this context, again, you know, global warming and how it is happening. So climate finance has doubled almost, you can say, previously compared to previous things. But now, most importantly, you need to remember is this report was released by WMO. They can ask the organization, and it was founded in 1950. It was actually founded in 1873 itself as International Meteorological Organization, but it was rebranded, you can say, in 1950. It was headquartered in Geneva in Switzerland. Okay. Then parent organization, United Nations Economic and Social Council. This is a parent organization of WMO. It is a specialized agency of UN. Okay. 15 agencies we have, like UNESCO you have, or WHO you have. Same way, this is also one organization which is in meteorological and geophysics. Then we have, this is important, okay, WMO plus UNEP together formed an organization called IPCC. You know, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, no? So this was formed by WMO and UNEP together. In 1988, this was formed. So this is important from static part. Then Uniting for Consensus. This was in grouping, you can say, which is in the light of G4. I told you what is G4 in the beginning, right? I didn't discuss, but I mentioned this. G4 is nothing but a group of 4 countries which wanted expansion of United Nations Security Council. Okay, so they want to get permanent seat in the UNSC. So what are those countries? India, Brazil, Germany, and Japan. So these 4 countries together we call G4. So the group which was formed opposite to G4, okay, they wanted to get UNSC membership, no? Those who don't want these 4 countries to get membership, okay, they have formed as Uniting for Consensus, or also called Coffee Club. Okay, for example, who will oppose India's membership? Pakistan. It is Pakistan. Okay, China already has, no, it directly doesn't say. Brazil, Argentina is opposing. Italy is opposing Germany's. Okay, like this, Japan is opposed by South Korea or some other country like this. Okay, so who are opposing this membership is called Uniting for Consensus. Okay, so this is what I told you. Then black carbon. Okay, so why it is in news? Because recently it was found that more black carbon emissions are coming from household activities. Like what is black carbon means? First thing you need to remember is it is a short-lived climate pollutant. SLP means it will stay only for days in the atmosphere. It will be degraded. Okay. So what are other short-lived pollutants along with black carbon? Black carbon. What is CH4? Methane. Then, sorry, this is tropospheric ozone. Then HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons. So these are 4 short-lived pollutants. Okay, so they are identified under climate and clean air pollution. You have this pollution is there mainly to check with respect to short-lived pollutants only. Okay, so this was already asked in UPSC prelims once. They have asked about this organization and this. So why it was there means almost residential sector, that means household sector, is contributing to almost 50% of the black carbon emissions. What is black carbon means? It is nothing but a soot type of thing, short-lived pollutant, where when it will be released means when fossil fuels are not fully combusted, means when they're not fully burnt, at that time you will be releasing this black carbon. Okay, so it is dangerous for the climate. Although it is short-lived, it causes climate change and global warming. So what are the sources means? Biomass. You know, the people in the rural areas will be using wood and all these things, no, for cooking purposes and all. When you are not properly burning the wood, incomplete combustion, at that time black carbon is being released. Okay, so here you need to remember short-lived pollutant, and it also impacts cloud formation also. It is becoming difficult and warming, and here you need to remember it reduces the albedo. Albedo means reflecting capacity, no? Reducing albedo means more increasing temperatures will be there. Albedo, if it is more will be reflected. Okay, so if reduced albedo is there means less is getting reflected. Okay, that means more heat will be absorbed. That is increasing the temperature. What are the sources? You can see cow dung, straw, traditional cook stoves and all. Okay, from there we are getting this black carbon. So these are the initiatives you can write in case if these type of things can be asked in mains. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, you know, for LPG cylinders, that is again to bypass firewood only, no, or biomass burning. So introduction of cleaner and alternative fuels like ethanol and methanol blendings and all. Sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation, SATAT initiative, and promotion of agriculture mechanization, National Clean Air Program, where we wanted to reduce particulate matter, PM 2.5. Okay, and then faster adoption of manufacturing of electric vehicles, FAME, under Ministry of Heavy Industries. It is not under Ministry of Road Transport or Renewable Energy. I thought many people will be answering among these two only. So this is a question. Answer quickly.
One only.
One only. How so much? You are eliminating this. Then Kerala, okay, man-animal conflict hardly bear for 5 minutes. Even I also am not able to continue, but still. Kerala man-animal conflict was declared as a disaster, okay. So this is the second state now, which has designated man-animal conflict as a disaster, state-specific disaster. What is the first state is Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh already has defined man-animal conflict as a state disaster. That means why the designating what is the benefit they get means normally in case if it is not made a disaster, who will be dealing with man-animal conflicts normally? Environment Ministry, Wildlife Acts and all, Environment Protection Act, these will come into picture. But as I told you, in case if this is made a disaster, and then they can use this state disaster response funds and all to mitigate them and all. That means they need not depend on the central environment ministry for clearances and all. That is why they wanted to designate this as state level disaster. Okay, this is a second such thing happened from Indian state, you can say. And what is the main reasons why this man-animal conflict is being caused? Are we entering into their areas or they coming into our area? We are entering into their areas, habitat loss, fragmentation, okay, or encroachment into forest areas, that is causing them habitat loss or something, okay, we can say like these people or the animals are not finding the proper place, okay, or sometimes exceeding the carrying capacity of the ecosystem also, you can say. That means in case if you are going to settle in the forest areas for long, then what happens? The resource utilization will be more than what is provided by the ecosystem. At that time, the species, they don't find their food and all, so they have to move from that place to another place. In that way also, animal conflicts are being caused, okay. So for example, if you see elephants coming and attacking, tigers coming and attacking, we have seen different instances, So wild boars coming and attacking, cheetahs we'll be seeing in Tirumala road and all, So like this, the man-animal conflicts are happening, okay. So now it was designated, and first state is Uttar Pradesh, do remember this. And current state is presently forest government will be responsible in man-animal conflict. But if it is made as a state disaster, then who will be there? State Disaster Management Authority will be there, headed by the Chief Minister. They can assure these things. Decision making, previously Chief Wildlife Warden, Environment, IFS officer will be there. But proposed, if it is done, state district authorities only can designate this. Then district level authorities, if you see currently district collector only under Wildlife Act or also even under the new disaster management, he is only having the powers. But here if you see intervention, it is limited by Wildlife Protection Act, but here it is given a provisions under Disaster Management Act. Like this changes will be brought. That is why they wanted to list as the state specific disasters. Currently if you see courts will have entertainment of these under wildlife laws only, Wildlife Protection Act. But if you propose this under a state disaster, then Management Act will be coming. So Supreme Court alone can decide these aspects, okay. So then state specific disasters, if you see, Odisha and Kerala has made snake bite as the state disasters. These type of questions also can ask, okay. COVID-19 was made a state specific disaster by Kerala because first case was recorded there only, at the time to provide containment zones and all, they have made COVID-19 as the state specific disaster. But later on it became a national level disaster. But these are also the things which can be listed as the state disasters in different areas, okay. It's like erosions, heat waves, sunburns, sunstrokes. So wherever the temperature is high, then they can do this. So normally if you see here, this is also in use, captive elephants, okay. With respect to this, who can provide the rules means, you can easily guess, right? Who can do? Chief Wildlife Warden, okay. These persons only will have anything with respect to animals. Then last places in use, you can see this corrosion, okay. Why I have given this is, recently, on Moscow concert hall, there is an attack, okay, in Russia, ISIS K, that K means this corrosion only. So this is an area in Central Asian countries as well as Afghanistan, Iran, contiguous zone. So this they can ask in places in use and they can ask to associate with the area. That is why you have to keep in mind, it is a contiguous zone, okay. So you can see terrorist organization, as I told you, Iran, Afghanistan and other Central Asian countries together have this corrosion area, okay. Then International Day of Forests, okay. So just remember the theme. It is organized on March 21st and what is the theme of that year, you have to remember. It is combinedly celebrated by UN, Forum on Forests and FAO together, okay. So what is the theme? Forests and Innovation, New Solutions for a Better World. This is the theme for this year. Then you have next day's World Water Day, March 22nd. Okay. So then, you know, this is mainly to ensure Sustainable Development Goal 6, clean water and sanitation. And what is the significance is with respect to water usage, raising awareness. Then this is another place in news, Malawi. Okay. This is in Southern Africa. This country, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, these are all facing drought type of situations because of El Nino impact. So already if you have seen UPSC have asked a question, these type which countries are facing severe drought or famine or food scarcity, they have given combinations, no, like this they can ask, because they're asking why these places are in news, with the reason also they're asking you, okay, to be matched. So that is why I have given these 3 countries are on the severe verge of drought and famine. Okay, do remember these are in southern African countries. It is a landlocked country. Here you can see these are the boundary countries. You can refer, I will share the slides. Then most important one is Galapagos Islands. Okay, these are there under Ecuador's control. Ecuador is a Southern American country, right? Okay, this Galapagos Islands, why it is a news? Because they're facing severe pressure because of excessive tourist outflows there. Okay, so when more tourists are visiting this resource rich regions or ecologically sensitive areas are facing huge pressure on ecosystem. That is why this is in news. It was formed by volcanic eruptions and it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it is very close to the equator. Do remember this. And it is a mixture of both temperate and tropical climates. It has both the climates. And this is also one place in news I wanted to share. Okay. Then these are the terms you just remember. Last one, Project GIA. Okay, this is with respect to central banks, with respect to artificial intelligence. This was initiated. How to mitigate the risks of artificial intelligence on banking. Okay, Project GIA is launched. And then reverse flipping is also one term which is in news. So what is reverse flipping? Initially, if the companies were established, if any Indian company, for example, Meesho, you might have heard about Meesho. Or like this, any company, if it was established outside India, but later on they wanted to shift their headquarters to India, then those we call as reverse flipping. That is a term you just need to know. But sometimes they can ask reverse flipping and give direct statements. In this context, I have given these 2 terms also in this week current affairs. Okay, this is all. If you have any questions, you can ask me now.